Anger is one of those emotions that can feel all-encompassing. It rises quickly, takes hold of your thoughts, and colors the way you see the world. It's exhausting, isn't it? The tension in your chest, the replaying of words and events, the sharp sting of regret when it fades. Anger doesn't just disrupt a moment. It can disrupt entire days, months, or even years if left unchecked. Yet, it's something we all face, often more than we'd like to admit. The problem isn't just the anger itself, it's the way it lingers. A harsh word from someone close to you can stay with you long after the conversation has ended. A mistake at work, a disappointment in a relationship, an unfair situation. They all have the potential to ignite something inside that feels impossible to put out. Anger convinces you that holding on to it is necessary, that it's your shield, your protector, your motivator. But here's the hard truth. Anger rarely protects or helps. More often, it controls, drains, and isolates. Living with anger as a constant companion can feel like carrying a heavy weight that never quite leaves your shoulders. You try to let it go, but it's as though the world keeps giving you reasons to pick it back up. Small frustrations snowball into larger ones, and before you know it, you're consumed by thoughts of what went wrong, what should have happened, or what you wish you had said or done. It's a cycle that can feel impossible to break. But there is another way to live. You don't have to carry this weight forever. The key lies in learning how to understand anger, how to process it, and how to transform it into something that doesn't harm but helps. This isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending that everything is fine. It's about learning to respond differently, to take control of how you react, and to find peace even in the most challenging moments. For centuries, Stoicism has offered timeless wisdom on how to manage emotions, especially anger. It's a philosophy built not on lofty ideals, but on practical tools you can use every day. The Stoics believed that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. And in that response lies your freedom. Think about the power of that idea for a moment. No matter how frustrating, unfair, or painful a situation might be, your reaction is always within your control. Anger doesn't have to rule you. It's not a fixed part of who you are. It's a temporary feeling that you can choose to face differently. The moment you realize this, everything begins to change. Letting go of anger isn't about weakness or surrender. It's about reclaiming your strength. When you're not consumed by frustration or resentment, you see the world more clearly. You respond with purpose instead of reacting out of impulse. You open yourself to peace, even in moments that would have once left you fuming. This isn't just a way to avoid conflict, it's a way to live with more clarity, focus, and happiness. The beauty of this shift is that it doesn't require you to change who you are. It simply asks you to approach situations with new tools, new perspectives, and a willingness to grow. It's about building habits that support you instead of holding you back. The Stoics practiced these habits every day, not because they were naturally calm and unbothered, but because they knew the value of discipline and preparation. They taught that life is unpredictable and often difficult, but that these challenges don't have to defeat you. Imagine facing a moment that would normally leave you furious, a misunderstanding, an unkind word, a setback, and instead of feeling your chest tighten and your mind race, you feel steady. You pause, you breathe, and you choose your response. That space, that moment of control, is everything. It's where anger loses its grip and peace takes its place. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending not to feel. It's about understanding your emotions deeply enough to know that they don't have to dictate your actions. Anger can be a signal, a teacher, and even a motivator when handled wisely. But it doesn't have to be the driver of your life. You are far more powerful than any passing emotion. As you begin this journey, know that change takes time. You won't erase anger overnight, and you don't have to. What matters is progress, not perfection. Each step you take toward understanding and managing your anger is a step toward freedom, a freedom that brings with it a sense of calm and happiness that anger could never provide. You don't need to know all the answers now, you just need to start. This is your opportunity to explore ideas that have helped countless people transform their lives. It's your chance to see anger not as an enemy, but as a challenge you can overcome. And when you do, the weight you've been carrying will begin to lift. The tools you'll learn here aren't complicated. They don't require hours of study or a lifetime of practice. They are simple, practical, and effective. And the more you use them, the more natural they'll feel. Anger will no longer hold the same power over you. Instead, you'll find yourself responding to life with a sense of calm, clarity, and confidence. This is more than just a way to handle anger. It's a way to reclaim your peace, your joy, and your energy. It's about living in a way that reflects your best self, no matter what life throws at you. So take a deep breath and step forward. You're about to unlock a part of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more at peace than you ever thought possible. Anger is a thief. It steals joy, clarity, and peace. It takes moments that could have been spent in harmony and turns them into something heavy, bitter, and consuming. What if there was a way to break free from its grip? What if ancient wisdom could offer a cure, not just a temporary balm, but a lasting transformation? Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in practicality, holds keys that unlock a calmer, more centered way of living. Through its teachings, we learn not just to manage anger, but to dissolve it, to replace it with something far more powerful: peace. Anger isn't born from events. It grows from how we interpret those events. A cutting remark, an unfair situation, or an unmet expectation. All these are fertile ground for frustration. Yet Stoicism shows us that the meaning we assign to these moments is entirely within our control. It's not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It's about shifting perspective, understanding our reactions, and choosing differently. Each phrase and principle passed down by Stoic philosophers carries a timeless medicine for the soul. To heal from anger, we must start with the roots. The phrases and teachings of Stoicism offer not just insights, but actionable practices, guiding us toward a life where anger no longer reigns. Let us explore these remedies, step by step, until the weight of frustration becomes a distant memory, replaced by lightness and strength. Anger always outlasts hurt, said Seneca, highlighting how anger clings to us long after its trigger has passed. This is the first medicine, understanding that anger thrives on the stories we tell ourselves. When hurtful actions or words occur, the mind often replays them, feeding the fire of resentment. The Stoic approach begins by interrupting this cycle. Instead of focusing on what was done to us, we shift to what we can do about it. This isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about questioning them. What benefit does holding on to anger bring? Does it solve the issue? Does it bring relief? Often the answers reveal how futile anger truly is. By practicing reframing, we weaken anger's grip. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This phrase isn't about denying reality, it's about taking back power. When someone insults or wrongs us, their actions are external. Our interpretation, however, is internal. By refusing to take offense, we shield ourselves from unnecessary suffering. This isn't easy, but it's liberating. It transforms a moment of pain into an opportunity for growth. When anger arises, it's helpful to examine its source. Often, anger stems not from the present, but from past wounds or unfulfilled desires. Stoicism teaches us to question the origins of our feelings. Are we angry because our expectations weren't met? Are we projecting past disappointments onto the current situation? This reflection allows us to untangle the web of emotions, addressing the real issue instead of reacting blindly. One powerful tool for dissolving anger is the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation on evils. This involves mentally preparing for life's inevitable challenges. Instead of expecting perfection, we anticipate setbacks and disruptions. This doesn't mean living in fear or pessimism. It means building resilience. When we expect that people will sometimes act selfishly or circumstances will occasionally go awry, we're less likely to be blindsided by frustration. Seneca advised, "The wise man considers fortune's attacks before they come, so when they do, he is prepared." Another phrase, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength," reminds us that anger often arises from trying to control what is beyond our influence. We cannot dictate how others behave, nor can we force life to conform to our wishes. What we can control is our response. This realization shifts focus from external chaos to internal stability. It invites us to redirect energy toward what truly matters, cultivating patience, wisdom, and understanding. In moments of anger, the Stoics urge us to pause. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused it, said Marcus Aurelius. This pause creates space for reflection. It allows us to weigh our reaction against the long-term effects. Will an angry outburst improve the situation? Will resentment repair a broken relationship? Usually the answer is no. Pausing doesn't mean ignoring the issue. It means approaching it with clarity instead of impulsiveness. Epictetus offered another remedy, focusing on the big picture. Is this event going to matter in a year, a month, or even a week? He asked. When viewed through the lens of time, most sources of anger lose their significance. This isn't about minimizing genuine problems, it's about distinguishing between what's worth our energy and what isn't. By keeping perspective, we free ourselves from being ensnared by trivial provocations. The Stoics also emphasized gratitude as a counterbalance to anger. Gratitude shifts attention from what's wrong to what's right, from what we lack to what we have. When frustration arises, asking, "What am I thankful for in this moment?" can be transformative. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it provides a grounding force, reminding us of the good amidst the bad. Don't set your heart on so many things, Seneca advised. By appreciating life's simple gifts, we reduce the power of unmet desires to stir anger. Forgiveness is another Stoic antidote to anger. Forgiveness isn't about condoning wrongdoing. It's about releasing ourselves from the burden of resentment. When we hold grudges, we tether ourselves to the very pain we wish to escape. Letting go is an act of liberation. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it, said Marcus Aurelius. Forgiveness allows us to move forward, unshackled by the past. Silence is another tool the Stoics valued deeply. In moments of anger, speaking hastily often escalates conflict. Choosing silence gives us a chance to calm down, to think before we act. This isn't about suppressing our voice, but about using it wisely. When we speak from a place of calm, our words carry more weight and lead to better outcomes. Ego is often at the heart of anger. When our pride is wounded, we react defensively. But the Stoics teach humility as a way to disarm anger. By detaching from ego-driven reactions, we become less affected by insults or perceived slights. What others think of me is none of my business, reflects this principle. Instead of seeking validation from others, we focus on living in alignment with our values. The Stoics also found wisdom in nature, observing its rhythms and flow. Rivers don't resist rocks, they move around them. Trees bend in the wind instead of breaking. Nature doesn't hold grudges or dwell on obstacles, it adapts. By adopting a similar mindset, we can let go of resistance and embrace life's challenges with grace. Breathing techniques, though simple, were another Stoic practice for calming anger. Deep, intentional breaths can interrupt the body's fight-or-flight response, grounding us in the present moment. By focusing on breath, we regain control over our emotions and create space for thoughtful responses. Daily reflection was a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Journaling about the day's events helps us identify patterns in our behavior, including what triggered anger and how we responded. Over time, this awareness builds emotional intelligence, allowing us to handle challenges more effectively. Stoicism encourages us to find joy in living according to our values, regardless of external circumstances. When we anchor ourselves in virtues like patience, kindness, and courage, we're less swayed by fleeting emotions. Anger loses its power when faced with a foundation of inner strength. This philosophy also teaches that all things are impermanent. The moment that angers us will pass, just as all moments do. Clinging to it only prolongs suffering. By embracing impermanence, we free ourselves to focus on what truly matters. Each Stoic phrase and practice is a tool, a medicine for anger's grip. By applying them, not only do we dissolve anger, but we also cultivate a life filled with clarity, purpose, and peace. The journey is ongoing, but every step forward is a step toward freedom. Let the teachings of Stoicism guide you to a place where anger no longer holds sway, and joy becomes your default state. Anger, when left unexamined, often evolves into something even heavier: resentment. It takes root deep within, coloring not just our perspective of those who wronged us, but also how we see ourselves and the world. Resentment is anger that has overstayed its welcome, growing more toxic with time. Where anger may burn brightly and then fade, resentment lingers, quietly consuming energy and joy. It feels justified, even protective, but in reality, it acts as a cage, trapping us in cycles of pain. Letting go of resentment requires more than simple willpower. It demands understanding of ourselves, our emotions, and the perspectives that keep us tethered to the past. Stoic principles offer an approach that is both practical and transformative, showing us not only how to release resentment, but also how to replace it with clarity and peace. The first step is recognizing resentment for what it truly is, a burden we carry. It often starts with an unmet expectation or a sense of injustice. Someone failed to act the way we believed they should, or a situation unfolded in a way that felt unfair. It's natural to feel hurt in these moments, but resentment grows when we replay those events, reinforcing the belief that we were wronged and deserve restitution. Marcus Aurelius offers a striking reminder. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This simple truth shifts focus from what happened to how we choose to interpret it. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for releasing resentment is reframing. Resentment thrives on the stories we tell ourselves, stories of how others wronged us, how unfairly life treated us, or how things should have been different. These narratives, while comforting in the short term, often fuel our pain. Reframing allows us to question these stories and see them from a broader perspective. Did the other person act out of malice, or were they acting based on their own limitations or struggles? By understanding their perspective, we can soften our response without condoning their actions. Seneca reminds us that resentment is often rooted in our expectations of others. Expecting someone to act virtuously when they have not learned virtue themselves, he wrote, is as foolish as expecting a fig tree to bear olives. This doesn't mean lowering our standards for others, but rather accepting that people act according to their own understanding, not ours. This shift in perspective helps dissolve the idea that their behavior was a personal attack. Forgiveness, when viewed through a Stoic lens, becomes a tool of empowerment rather than a concession. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing bad behavior or pretending the hurt didn't happen. Instead, it is the decision to release the emotional grip the event has on us. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you wake up in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." Resentment robs us of this privilege, anchoring us to the past. Forgiveness, then, is not a gift to the one who wronged us, but a liberation of our own mind and heart. Resentment also thrives on the illusion of control. When we replay events in our minds, we often wish they had turned out differently. We fantasize about saying the perfect words or taking the perfect actions to avoid the hurt. Stoicism teaches us that this kind of rumination is both futile and harmful. The past is unchangeable, and trying to rewrite it in our minds only deepens our frustration. Epictetus advises, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and responses, we can free ourselves from the endless cycle of what-ifs. Another powerful practice is the Stoic reflection on impermanence. Everything in life is fleeting, including the events that sparked our resentment and the people involved. Resentment, however, gives these moments a permanence they don't deserve. By recognizing the temporary nature of all things, we can loosen resentment's hold. This perspective reminds us that clinging to past wrongs only prolongs their impact, keeping us tied to something that would otherwise fade with time. Gratitude is a counterbalance to resentment. Where resentment focuses on what went wrong, gratitude shifts attention to what remains right. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means actively seeking out the good, even in difficult moments. Gratitude allows us to recognize that while one aspect of life may disappoint, there is still much to appreciate. Seneca urged, "Don't set your heart on so many things." By finding contentment in simplicity, we reduce the power of unmet expectations to fuel resentment. Silence is another remedy for resentment. The urge to speak out in anger or confrontation is strong, but words spoken from a place of resentment often deepen conflict rather than resolve it. Choosing silence doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but creating space to process them. In that space, clarity emerges, allowing you to decide whether a response is truly necessary or whether letting go is the better option. Silence can be a powerful act of self-control and wisdom. Ego often plays a hidden role in resentment. When our pride is hurt, resentment grows as a defense mechanism. We replay the slight, magnify its significance, and build a narrative that centers our pain. Stoicism teaches humility as a way to disarm the ego. By letting go of the need to always be right or validated, we reduce the sting of others' actions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our worth isn't defined by others' opinions or actions, saying, "It is not external events that trouble us, but the judgments we make about them." Journaling offers a practical way to work through resentment. Writing allows us to examine our feelings, uncover their roots, and gain insight into why they linger. By putting thoughts on paper, we create distance between ourselves and our emotions, making it easier to see them objectively. This process often reveals that the intensity of our resentment is disproportionate to the actual event, helping us release it more easily. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of forward momentum. Resentment traps us in the past, replaying what went wrong instead of focusing on what can be built or improved. Shifting our energy toward future growth, whether through learning, relationships, or personal development, takes power away from resentment. Each step forward weakens its hold, allowing us to reclaim our time and energy. Ultimately, letting go of resentment is an act of self-care. It's not about forgetting what happened or excusing harm, but choosing freedom over bondage. Resentment chains us to the very pain we seek to escape, while release opens the door to peace. Through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, we learn that we have the power to let go, not because the past changes, but because we do. The journey may not be easy, but every step is worth the lightness and clarity that follow. With each lesson applied, resentment fades, leaving space for joy, growth, and inner strength. Frustration is a quieter storm compared to anger, but its effects can be just as destructive. It builds slowly, starting as a small annoyance before it takes over, casting a shadow on your thoughts and draining your energy. It often stems from things not going the way you expected, leaving you stuck in a cycle of tension and unease. While anger may burn brightly and then fade, frustration lingers, gnawing at your peace of mind. Yet, within frustration lies a hidden opportunity, a chance to pause, reassess, and transform it into something more meaningful. The Stoics believed frustration was not a punishment, but a signal, an invitation to look inward and choose peace over turmoil. The first step in transforming frustration into inner peace is to recognize its true source. Frustration doesn't arise from external circumstances, but from our internal expectations clashing with reality. Whether it's someone showing up late, a project hitting unexpected delays, or plans falling apart, the root of frustration is our attachment to how things should have been. Epictetus reminds us, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." By understanding that frustration is a product of our perspective, we gain the power to change it. Letting go of rigid expectations is one of the most effective ways to disarm frustration. This doesn't mean lowering your standards or becoming indifferent. It means cultivating flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, things will often unfold in ways we don't anticipate. Seneca advised practicing premeditatio malorum, or anticipating obstacles, to prepare the mind for inevitable disruptions. By expecting challenges as a natural part of life, we reduce the shock and irritation when they arise. This isn't pessimism, it's resilience. Another powerful tool is the practice of reframing. Instead of seeing frustration as a setback, view it as an opportunity to grow. Each challenge presents a chance to exercise patience, creativity, or adaptability. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This mindset turns obstacles into stepping stones, shifting focus from what went wrong to what can be learned or gained from the experience. Frustration loses its sting when it's seen as a teacher rather than an enemy. Breathing techniques provide a simple yet profound way to address frustration in the moment. Frustration often manifests physically: tension in the shoulders, a racing heart, or shallow breathing. Deep, intentional breaths help calm the body and signal to the mind that it's time to slow down. The Stoics valued control over one's physical state as a gateway to mastering emotions. Taking a few slow breaths during moments of frustration creates space for reflection and prevents impulsive reactions. Perspective is another key ingredient in transforming frustration. Often, what frustrates us seems monumental in the moment, but when viewed from a broader perspective, its importance diminishes. Marcus Aurelius often practiced the view from above, imagining himself looking down on his life from a great height. This exercise reveals how small most irritations are in the grand scheme of things. By zooming out, you gain clarity, allowing you to respond with calmness instead of agitation. Gratitude is an antidote to frustration. It shifts focus from what went wrong to what is still right, When faced with delays or disappointments, pausing to acknowledge the things that are going well can drastically change your mindset. Seneca wrote, "He is a great man who uses earthenware as if it were silver, and silver as if it were earthenware." This attitude of appreciation helps anchor us in the present, making it easier to let go of frustration and embrace peace. Frustration also provides an opportunity to practice detachment. Much of our frustration comes from clinging too tightly to outcomes we can't control. By letting go of the need for perfection or certainty, we free ourselves from the cycle of disappointment. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what lies within our power, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Everything else, no matter how much it matters to us, is ultimately beyond our influence. Accepting this truth is liberating, transforming frustration into acceptance. Engaging in meaningful action is another way to channel frustration constructively. When we're stuck in frustration, our energy often feels scattered or stagnant. Redirecting that energy towards something productive, whether it's completing a task, helping someone in need, or creating something new, shifts the focus from what's wrong to what can be done. Marcus Aurelius emphasized action as a way to align with nature, saying, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Even small acts can break the grip of frustration and create a sense of accomplishment. Self-awareness is crucial for understanding the patterns that lead to frustration. Journaling about daily experiences can help uncover triggers and recurring themes. Are there certain situations or people that consistently leave you feeling frustrated? Recognizing these patterns allows you to approach them differently in the future. Journaling also provides a space to reflect on your responses and explore alternative ways of handling similar situations. Another practice the Stoics embraced is voluntary discomfort. By intentionally exposing ourselves to small challenges, such as fasting, exercising in less than ideal conditions, or giving up a luxury, we build resilience. When we learn to endure minor discomforts willingly, the unplanned disruptions of life feel less overwhelming. Frustration loses its power when we've trained ourselves to remain composed under pressure. Empathy is a powerful tool for diffusing frustration with others. Often, frustration arises because we expect people to act a certain way or meet our standards. By stepping into their shoes, we can better understand their actions or limitations. Seneca advised, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Extending empathy doesn't excuse poor behavior, but allows us to respond with patience and understanding rather than irritation. Reflection on impermanence can also help transform frustration. Every difficulty, no matter how persistent it seems, will pass in time. Marcus Aurelius frequently meditated on the transient nature of life, noting that what feels overwhelming today will likely be forgotten tomorrow. This perspective softens the edges of frustration, reminding us to focus on what truly matters. Stoicism also teaches the importance of practicing acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance or denial. By accepting the present moment fully, even if it includes frustration, we create space for peace. Resistance only amplifies discomfort, while acceptance opens the door to clarity and action. Kindness toward oneself is essential in this process. Frustration often leads to self-criticism, especially when we feel we've failed or fallen short. But the Stoics remind us that growth is a journey, not a destination. Mistakes and setbacks are inevitable, but they are also opportunities to learn and improve. Practicing self-compassion helps us approach frustration with a calmer, more forgiving mindset. The transformation of frustration into peace is not a single step, but an ongoing practice. Each moment of frustration is an opportunity to exercise patience, expand perspective, and grow stronger. Through Stoic principles, frustration becomes not an obstacle, but a pathway to inner peace, teaching us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. As these lessons take root, the storms of frustration grow quieter, replaced by the steady calm of a centered mind. Emotional balance is a skill that seems elusive in a world filled with constant challenges and provocations. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine, but about understanding, managing, and channeling them in ways that serve you rather than control you. Stoicism offers a path to this balance, teaching that emotions themselves are not the enemy. It is our lack of mastery over them that causes inner turmoil. When you learn to navigate emotions with clarity and wisdom, they become tools for growth instead of obstacles. The journey toward emotional balance begins with awareness. Emotions often arise without warning, sweeping over us and dictating our actions before we even recognize them. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This foundational idea shifts the focus inward. External events may trigger emotions, but the way they manifest and linger is a result of how we interpret and respond to them. By observing emotions without judgment, you create the space needed to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of mastering emotional balance. Journaling provides a structured way to explore the origins of emotions, identifying patterns in your responses to various situations. When frustration, sadness, or anger arises, ask yourself, what sparked this feeling? Was it an external event, or was it tied to unmet expectations or personal insecurities? By dissecting these moments, you gain insight into your emotional triggers and can begin to address their roots rather than their symptoms. Another Stoic principle essential for emotional balance is the dichotomy of control. Much of our emotional instability comes from trying to control what is beyond our influence, whether it's other people's opinions, the outcomes of events, or the behavior of those around us. Epictetus teaches, "It is not things themselves that trouble us, but our opinions about them." Understanding this allows you to redirect your focus to what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. This shift not only reduces emotional volatility, but also empowers you to take ownership of your internal state. Perspective plays a vital role in emotional balance. Emotions often feel overwhelming in the moment, but their intensity diminishes when viewed from a broader context. Marcus Aurelius practiced the view from above, mentally stepping back from his current situation to see it in relation to the larger picture of life. This exercise helps you realize that most emotional storms are temporary and often insignificant in the grand scheme of things. By adopting this perspective, you can approach emotions with a calm curiosity rather than panic. Acceptance is another key component of emotional balance. Resistance to emotions, trying to push them away or deny their existence, only amplifies their intensity. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural responses to life's challenges. By acknowledging them without attachment or aversion, you neutralize their power over you. Acceptance doesn't mean surrendering to negative feelings, but rather facing them honestly and allowing them to pass without unnecessary resistance. Breathing techniques offer a practical way to anchor yourself in moments of emotional turbulence. When emotions like anxiety or anger take hold, the body often reacts with tension, shallow breathing, and increased heart rate. Deep, intentional breaths can interrupt this cycle, calming the nervous system and bringing clarity to your mind. This simple practice aligns with the Stoic emphasis on grounding oneself in the present moment, creating a foundation for thoughtful responses. Gratitude is another powerful tool for emotional balance. Negative emotions often stem from focusing on what is lacking or wrong in a situation. Gratitude shifts your attention to what is present and positive. Seneca advised cultivating an attitude of gratitude not only for life's blessings, but also for its challenges, as they provide opportunities for growth. By practicing gratitude regularly, you train your mind to seek balance even in difficult circumstances. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of aligning emotions with reason. Emotions like anger or fear are not inherently bad, but when they override rational thinking, they lead to poor decisions and inner conflict. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This principle encourages you to pause and evaluate whether your emotions are guiding you toward virtuous action or leading you astray. By grounding emotions in reason, you maintain control and clarity. Voluntary discomfort is a Stoic practice that strengthens emotional resilience. By intentionally exposing yourself to minor challenges, such as fasting, enduring the cold, or stepping out of your comfort zone, you build the mental fortitude needed to handle larger emotional trials. These exercises teach you that discomfort is temporary and manageable, reducing your sensitivity to emotional triggers in everyday life. Empathy is another crucial element of emotional balance. Much of our emotional instability comes from misinterpreting others' actions or taking them personally. By seeking to understand the perspective of those around you, you diffuse feelings of anger, frustration, or resentment. Seneca's reminder, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness," highlights the transformative power of empathy. Extending compassion to others often softens your own emotional responses, fostering peace instead of conflict. Nature serves as a profound teacher for emotional balance. Observing the cycles and rhythms of the natural world reminds us of the impermanence of all things, including emotions. Rivers flow around obstacles, seasons change, and storms pass, all without resistance. By adopting a similar mindset, you learn to navigate emotions with grace, allowing them to come and go without clinging to their intensity. Silence and stillness are also essential for mastering emotions. In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, taking moments of quiet reflection allows you to reconnect with your inner self. Silence creates the mental space needed to process emotions and gain clarity. This practice aligns with the Stoic emphasis on solitude as a tool for self-mastery. Another valuable practice is prioritizing your values. Emotional instability often arises when actions and choices conflict with your core beliefs. By identifying and living in alignment with your values, you create a sense of inner harmony that reduces emotional turbulence. When faced with a difficult situation, asking yourself, "Does this align with who I want to be?" can guide you toward balanced and virtuous responses. Patience is a virtue deeply embedded in Stoicism and a cornerstone of emotional balance. Life's challenges rarely resolve instantly, and impatience only adds to emotional strain. By cultivating patience, you learn to endure discomfort and uncertainty without becoming overwhelmed. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Patience, in this sense, is an act of courage, a refusal to let temporary emotions dictate long-term outcomes. The practice of detachment from outcomes also contributes to emotional stability. Much of our emotional turmoil comes from attaching our happiness to specific results. By focusing on effort rather than outcome, you free yourself from the anxiety of uncertainty. Epictetus taught, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do." This mindset fosters peace by aligning your expectations with reality. Regular reflection ensures continuous growth in emotional mastery. Each day offers opportunities to evaluate your responses and refine your approach. By examining what worked, what didn't, and where you can improve, you build the habits necessary for sustained emotional balance. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his own thoughts and actions, reminding himself to remain humble and focused on self-improvement. Mastering emotional balance is not about eliminating emotions, but about navigating them with wisdom and grace. Through Stoic principles and practices, you can transform emotional turbulence into a steady foundation for inner peace. Each step on this path brings you closer to a state of calm clarity, where emotions enhance your life instead of controlling it. This journey is ongoing, but every effort you make strengthens your ability to face life's challenges with resilience and tranquility. Emotional balance is the foundation for navigating life's challenges, but it is truly tested when provocation strikes. Whether it's a sharp insult, a dismissive glance, or outright disrespect, moments like these ignite an emotional reaction that can quickly spiral out of control. Maintaining calm in such situations is more than a skill. It's a testament to mastery over oneself. This ability is not about passivity or avoidance, but about responding with clarity and strength, even in the heat of the moment. Stoicism, with its timeless wisdom, provides tools to help you rise above provocation, transforming conflict into an opportunity for growth. The first step toward staying calm when provoked is to understand that provocation is rarely about you. Most provocations stem from the other person's emotions, insecurities, or circumstances, not a calculated attack on your character. Epictetus reminds us, when someone insults you, it is their opinion, not a fact. Recognizing this separates your sense of self-worth from their behavior. Their words or actions reflect their state of mind, not your value. This simple realization creates space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. A key practice in moments of provocation is pausing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." This pause is where power lies. It allows you to take a step back and decide how to respond, rather than being swept away by emotion. The pause is not an absence of action, but a deliberate act of control. In those few seconds, you can choose reason over reaction, composure over chaos. Understanding intent also plays a crucial role in diffusing provocation. Many provocations are thoughtless, stemming from ignorance or a lack of awareness rather than malice. Seneca advised, "Consider that the person who wrongs you acts out of their own limitations." This perspective doesn't excuse bad behavior, but reframes it, making it easier to approach with patience. By seeing the other person as flawed and human, rather than as an enemy, you soften your response and maintain your composure. The power of silence cannot be underestimated in these moments. Silence is not weakness, but strength, a conscious decision to preserve your dignity and clarity. Words spoken in anger often escalate tension and lead to regret. Choosing silence gives you time to reflect and prevents the situation from spiraling further. It also signals control, demonstrating that you are not easily rattled. Silence can disarm the provocateur, leaving them with no fuel to continue their attack. Breathing deeply is a physical practice that anchors you in the present when emotions run high. Provocation often triggers a physiological response: tension, rapid breathing, or a racing heart. By taking slow, intentional breaths, you interrupt the body's stress response and regain control over your emotions. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of grounding yourself in the present moment, allowing you to respond from a place of calm. Perspective is another invaluable tool for staying calm. Provocations often feel overwhelming in the moment, but when viewed from a larger context, their significance diminishes. Marcus Aurelius practiced the view from above, mentally stepping outside of his immediate circumstances to see them as part of a much bigger picture. This exercise helps you realize that most provocations are fleeting and unimportant in the grand scheme of things, making it easier to let them pass without disrupting your peace. Empathy also plays a transformative role in handling provocation. Instead of immediately reacting, consider what might have driven the other person's behavior. Are they under stress, grappling with insecurities, or acting out of pain? Seneca emphasized the value of treating others with compassion, saying, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Empathy doesn't mean accepting disrespect, but allows you to respond with understanding rather than hostility. Focusing on what you can control is central to Stoicism. Provocation often triggers a desire to control the situation or change the other person's behavior. But as Epictetus taught, the chief task in life is to identify what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control the actions or words of others, but you have complete authority over your thoughts, actions, and reactions. This realization shifts your energy from external circumstances to internal stability, empowering you to remain calm regardless of the provocation. Gratitude is a surprising yet effective counter to provocation. When faced with a challenging situation, pausing to reflect on what you are grateful for redirects your focus from anger to appreciation. Gratitude doesn't erase the provocation, but provides a buffer against its emotional impact. By cultivating this habit, you train your mind to seek balance, even in difficult moments. Forgiveness is another profound tool for staying calm. Holding on to resentment or anger after being provoked only prolongs the emotional toll. Forgiveness, viewed through a Stoic lens, is not about condoning bad behavior, but about freeing yourself from its grip. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you." Forgiveness allows you to reclaim your peace and respond with dignity rather than retaliation. The practice of detachment is essential in maintaining composure. Detachment doesn't mean indifference, but rather the ability to separate your emotions from the situation. By letting go of the need for validation or approval, you become less vulnerable to the sting of provocation. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish or stupid." This mindset empowers you to rise above provocations, focusing instead on your own principles and values. Physical posture also plays a role in staying calm. The Stoics understood the connection between body and mind, teaching that maintaining an upright, relaxed posture can influence your emotional state. When provoked, avoid slumping or tensing up. Instead, stand tall, relax your shoulders, and breathe deeply. This physical grounding reinforces your inner calm and signals confidence. Voluntary discomfort is a Stoic practice that builds resilience to provocation. By intentionally exposing yourself to small challenges, such as fasting, taking cold showers, or enduring minor inconveniences, you train your mind to remain composed in the face of discomfort. This practice helps you handle unexpected provocations with grace, as you've already built the habit of enduring discomfort without losing control. Reflection on impermanence is another key to calmness. All provocations, no matter how intense, are temporary. The person who angered you will move on, the moment will fade, and its impact will diminish over time. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the fleeting nature of life, saying, "Observe how transient and insignificant all things are." This perspective helps you let go of the immediate emotional reaction, focusing instead on what truly matters. Aligning your actions with your values is perhaps the most powerful way to stay calm. When provoked, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be in this situation? This question shifts your focus from the provocation to your own character. By acting in accordance with virtues like patience, kindness, and wisdom, you transform moments of conflict into opportunities for growth. Each time you choose calmness over anger, you strengthen your ability to face challenges with grace. Staying calm in the face of provocation is not about avoiding confrontation or suppressing emotions. It's about mastering your reactions and choosing responses that reflect your strength and integrity. Through Stoic practices, you develop the resilience to navigate provocation without losing your peace. Each moment of calmness reinforces your inner power, turning challenges into stepping stones toward a life of clarity and composure. As you continue to apply these principles, calmness becomes not just a reaction, but a way of being, unshaken by the storms of life. Calmness in the face of provocation opens the door to something greater, the ability to transform even the darkest emotions into sources of strength. Negative emotions like fear, anger, sadness, and doubt are not enemies to be fought, but raw energy waiting to be shaped. They carry lessons, provide insight, and, when understood and managed wisely, can serve as powerful tools for growth. Stoicism offers timeless principles to turn these emotions into stepping stones toward resilience, clarity, and purpose. The first step in turning negative emotions into strength is to understand that they are natural and universal. Every person faces moments of fear, anger, or despair, but what sets the strong apart is their ability to respond to these emotions constructively. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing emotions, but recognizing that the harm they cause is often a result of our interpretation. By reframing how we see negative emotions, we gain the power to transform them into something valuable. Self-awareness is essential in this process. Negative emotions often arise quickly and without warning, clouding judgment and leading to impulsive actions. By cultivating the habit of observing your emotions as they arise, you can begin to understand their root causes. Journaling is a powerful tool for this practice. Writing down what you feel and why allows you to analyze patterns and identify triggers. With time, this awareness helps you anticipate and redirect negative emotions before they overwhelm you. Fear, for example, often signals uncertainty or a perceived threat. Instead of letting fear paralyze you, Stoicism teaches you to face it with courage and reason. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of what we fear never comes to pass, and even when it does, the experience is often less devastating than anticipated. By breaking down your fears into smaller, manageable parts, you can confront them with confidence, turning fear into a motivator for action rather than a barrier. Anger, another potent emotion, carries immense energy that can be redirected toward productive outcomes. Marcus Aurelius advised, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Instead of allowing anger to control you, channel its intensity into solving the problem at hand or improving yourself. Physical activities like exercise or creative outlets, such as writing or art, can help dissipate anger's initial intensity, creating space for thoughtful reflection and action. Sadness, often seen as a sign of weakness, holds the potential for profound strength. It invites introspection and can deepen your understanding of what truly matters. Stoicism encourages embracing the impermanence of life, which helps you find meaning even in loss. Epictetus reminds us, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things." By shifting your perspective, sadness becomes a teacher, helping you prioritize relationships, values, and experiences that bring lasting fulfillment. Doubt, while often unsettling, is a signal to pause and reevaluate. Instead of seeing doubt as a weakness, treat it as an opportunity to clarify your goals and refine your approach. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Doubt can serve as a compass, guiding you away from impulsive decisions and toward thoughtful, deliberate action. One of the most transformative Stoic practices is viewing obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Negative emotions, when reframed, become challenges that test and strengthen your character. Fear tests your courage, sadness deepens your empathy, and anger sharpens your sense of justice. Each emotion, when approached with wisdom, adds to your inner resilience. Gratitude is a counterbalance that helps transform negative emotions into strength. When overwhelmed by what's going wrong, focusing on what's right shifts your perspective. Seneca wrote, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." By actively seeking moments of gratitude, you remind yourself that even in difficulty, there is much to appreciate. Gratitude doesn't erase negative emotions, but provides a foundation of positivity that supports you through them. Stoicism also teaches the importance of action. Negative emotions often thrive in stagnation, growing stronger when left unchecked. By taking deliberate, constructive action, you break the cycle of rumination. Whether it's addressing the source of the emotion directly or redirecting your energy toward meaningful tasks, action transforms emotion into momentum. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This reminder to focus on deeds rather than thoughts helps channel emotions into growth. Practicing detachment is another powerful Stoic principle. Much of the pain caused by negative emotions comes from attachment to outcomes, possessions, or relationships. By practicing detachment, you learn to let go of what you cannot control, reducing the intensity of negative emotions. Epictetus taught, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and you will find peace." This mindset allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, transforming setbacks into lessons. Empathy toward yourself is equally important. Negative emotions often lead to self-criticism, creating a cycle of guilt or shame. By treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend, you create a supportive environment for growth. Stoicism encourages self-reflection without self-condemnation, helping you learn from mistakes without being weighed down by them. This balance of accountability and kindness turns emotional pain into a catalyst for self-improvement. Silence and solitude also play a role in transforming negative emotions. Taking time to reflect quietly allows you to process feelings without the distractions of daily life. This practice aligns with the Stoic emphasis on inner dialogue as a tool for understanding and growth. By stepping away from the noise, you gain clarity, making it easier to turn emotions into constructive action. Negative emotions are not barriers, but stepping stones. They hold the raw material needed for growth, resilience, and understanding. By applying Stoic principles, you can transform fear into courage, anger into determination, sadness into wisdom, and doubt into clarity. Each emotion, when approached with patience and perspective, becomes a source of strength that propels you forward. Through practice, this transformation becomes second nature, allowing you to face life's challenges with calm, confidence, and purpose. Harnessing the power of negative emotions reveals an essential truth. Happiness isn't found in their absence, but in mastering how we respond to all emotions. Happiness that endures isn't fleeting or tied to momentary pleasures. It is a state of being rooted in clarity, purpose, and inner calm. Stoicism offers a blueprint for this kind of happiness, a lasting contentment that thrives regardless of external circumstances. This form of happiness doesn't rely on what life gives, but on how we choose to navigate it. The foundation of lasting happiness lies in the realization that it comes from within. External achievements, material possessions, or others' approval are often pursued as sources of happiness, but they are fleeting. The Stoics emphasized that true contentment comes from living in harmony with one's values and nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This power over your mind is the wellspring of enduring happiness, a resource that cannot be taken away by misfortune or loss. Gratitude is one of the most transformative Stoic practices for cultivating happiness. The human mind often focuses on what is lacking or what could be better. By training yourself to focus on what is already present and good, you reframe your perspective. Seneca advised reflecting daily on what you are thankful for, even in difficult times. This doesn't mean denying challenges, but recognizing the good alongside them. Gratitude shifts your mindset, creating a foundation of contentment that lasts beyond fleeting highs. Living in the present moment is another pillar of Stoic happiness. Anxiety often arises from worrying about the future, while regret stems from dwelling on the past. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Confine yourself to the present." Happiness is found not in what has been or what might be, but in the now. Fully engaging with the present, whether through mindfulness, appreciating small joys, or immersing yourself in meaningful tasks, anchors you in a state of peace and satisfaction. Acceptance is central to lasting happiness. Much of life's unhappiness comes from resisting reality, wishing things were different than they are. Epictetus taught, "Seek not to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will find tranquility." This doesn't mean passivity, but aligning your expectations with the nature of life. By accepting what cannot be changed, you free yourself from unnecessary frustration and open the door to contentment. Happiness is also deeply connected to living virtuously. For the Stoics, happiness wasn't about indulgence, but about living in alignment with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. These virtues provide a steady guide for making choices that bring not only satisfaction, but meaning. When your actions reflect your values, you experience a sense of integrity and fulfillment that external rewards cannot replicate. Detachment from external outcomes plays a crucial role in cultivating happiness. The Stoics recognize that life is full of uncertainties. By focusing on effort rather than results, you build resilience and reduce the emotional toll of setbacks. Epictetus advised, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This mindset ensures that your happiness remains intact, regardless of how external events unfold. Serving others is another pathway to lasting happiness. The Stoics believed that humans are inherently connected and that contributing to the well-being of others enriches your own life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." Acts of kindness, whether small or significant, create a sense of purpose and belonging that nurtures inner joy. Serving others shifts focus from personal worries to the collective good, providing perspective and fulfillment. Simplicity is a Stoic virtue that leads to lasting happiness. Modern life often equates happiness with accumulation, more possessions, more achievements, more recognition. Yet, The Stoics taught that contentment comes from needing less. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Simplifying your life by focusing on what truly matters reduces stress and enhances your appreciation for what you already have. Reflection is a powerful tool for sustaining happiness. The Stoics practice daily reflection to assess their thoughts, actions, and emotions. Journaling provides a space to evaluate whether you are living according to your values and to identify areas for growth. Reflection helps you align your life with your principles, creating a sense of clarity and purpose that supports lasting happiness. Resilience is another cornerstone of Stoic happiness. Life will always present challenges, but how you respond determines your level of contentment. By viewing obstacles as opportunities to grow, you strengthen your ability to navigate difficulties without losing your sense of balance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, adding to your strength and deepening your happiness. Mindfulness, or paying attention to the present without judgment, enhances your ability to appreciate life fully. The Stoics valued mindfulness as a way to maintain focus on what truly matters. By practicing mindfulness, you heighten your awareness of the beauty in ordinary moments, from a kind word to a simple meal. This practice cultivates a steady, grounded happiness that is not swayed by external events. Forgiveness is another practice that supports lasting happiness. Holding on to grudges or resentment weighs heavily on the mind and heart. By choosing to forgive, not for others' sake but for your own, you release the burden of negative emotions. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Forgiveness allows you to move forward with lightness, unhindered by past wrongs. Happiness also requires embracing impermanence. The Stoics understood that everything in life is temporary, both the good and the bad. By accepting this truth, you can savor joyful moments without clinging to them and endure hardships without despair. Epictetus taught, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." This perspective brings peace, knowing that all experiences are part of life's natural flow. Purpose is a key driver of enduring happiness. The Stoics believed that living with intention and contributing to something greater than yourself provides a deep sense of fulfillment. Whether it's pursuing a meaningful goal, nurturing relationships, or helping others, purpose adds depth to your life and anchors you in happiness that lasts. Resisting comparison is essential for maintaining happiness. In a world filled with constant comparisons, it's easy to feel inadequate or dissatisfied. The Stoics advised focusing on your own journey rather than measuring yourself against others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste the remaining part of your life in thoughts about others." By staying true to your path, you cultivate a happiness that is rooted in authenticity rather than external validation. Gratitude, acceptance, and reflection form a cycle that sustains happiness. Each practice reinforces the others, creating a strong foundation for contentment that weathers life's ups and downs. By embracing these Stoic principles, you discover that happiness is not something to chase, but something to cultivate within yourself. This happiness endures, grounded in clarity, purpose, and a steady connection to what truly matters. Happiness that endures is not born from a life free of challenges, but from mastering how to face them with calm and clarity. Life's challenges, whether small inconveniences or profound crises, test your resolve and character. They push you to react, often emotionally, but Stoicism teaches a different way, a way to meet difficulties with composure, turning chaos into opportunities for growth. This calmness doesn't come from denying hardships, but from understanding them deeply and responding with intention rather than impulse. Stoicism begins by teaching that challenges are not inherently bad. They are neutral events shaped by your perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The way you interpret challenges determines whether they become sources of distress or stepping stones toward resilience. Understanding this shifts the focus from external events to internal mastery, empowering you to navigate life's trials without being overwhelmed. The first step in responding calmly is cultivating awareness of your initial reactions. Challenges often provoke a surge of emotion, fear, frustration, or anger. These emotions are natural, but don't have to dictate your actions. By observing them without judgment, you create space to choose your response. Epictetus advised, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This practice of mindful observation allows you to step back and assess the situation with a clear mind before taking action. Perspective is a powerful tool in maintaining calmness. Challenges often feel overwhelming in the moment, but when viewed from a broader context, their intensity diminishes. Marcus Aurelius practiced the view from above, imagining himself looking down on his life from a great height. This exercise helps you see challenges as temporary and often less significant than they seem. By adopting this perspective, you can approach difficulties with a sense of proportion and calm. Acceptance is another cornerstone of responding calmly to life's challenges. Resistance to reality only amplifies suffering. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control what happens, only how you respond. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By accepting the situation as it is, you conserve energy for constructive action rather than wasting it on frustration or denial. Acceptance is not resignation, but a starting point for purposeful effort. Gratitude offers a way to anchor yourself in the midst of challenges. When faced with difficulty, focusing on what remains good shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Seneca encouraged gratitude as a practice to counterbalance adversity. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenge, but recognizing that even in hardship, there are things to appreciate. Gratitude creates a foundation of positivity, helping you face difficulties with a resilient mindset. Another key principle is focusing on what you can control. Challenges often feel insurmountable because we attempt to control outcomes or circumstances beyond our influence. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from directing your efforts toward what is within your power, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have the power to strip away many superfluous troubles. Confining yourself to the present alone clears a vast expanse of peace." This focus helps you channel your energy productively, reducing anxiety and fostering calmness. Silence is a powerful response to challenges that provoke conflict or tension. Words spoken in haste often escalate the situation, whereas silence creates space for reflection and de-escalation. Choosing not to react immediately demonstrates strength and composure. This pause allows you to assess whether a response is even necessary and, if so, to craft one that aligns with your values. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of preparation. By anticipating potential difficulties, you strengthen your ability to face them calmly. The practice of premeditatio malorum, imagining worst-case scenarios, prepares your mind for challenges. This doesn't mean dwelling on negativity, but familiarizing yourself with the possibility of setbacks so they don't catch you off guard. Seneca noted, "The unexpected blow lands heaviest." By mentally rehearsing responses to potential challenges, you build resilience and reduce emotional volatility. Physical practices can also support emotional calmness. Challenges often trigger a stress response in the body: tight muscles, shallow breathing, or a racing heart. Deep, intentional breaths help calm the nervous system, grounding you in the present moment. This simple practice aligns with the Stoic principle of using physical awareness to cultivate mental clarity. Another aspect of responding calmly is finding purpose in challenges. Stoicism views obstacles as opportunities to grow in virtue and strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Each challenge is a chance to practice patience, courage, or wisdom. By reframing difficulties as tests of character, you shift your focus from what you've lost to what you can gain. Empathy plays a crucial role in navigating challenges involving others. Many difficulties arise from misunderstandings, conflicts, or perceived slights. By seeking to understand the perspective of others, you diffuse tension and foster connection. Seneca advised treating others with compassion, saying, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Empathy doesn't solve every problem, but helps you approach interpersonal challenges with grace rather than hostility. Detachment from outcomes is another Stoic practice that fosters calmness. Much of the stress surrounding challenges comes from clinging to specific results. By focusing on effort rather than outcome, you free yourself from the anxiety of uncertainty. Epictetus taught, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." This mindset helps you stay present and engaged, regardless of how the situation unfolds. Reflection is a vital tool for learning from challenges and responding more effectively in the future. After facing a difficulty, take time to evaluate how you handled it. What went well? What could you improve? This process of self-assessment aligns with the Stoic commitment to continuous growth. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his actions, reminding himself to remain humble and focused on improvement. Reflection transforms challenges into valuable lessons, ensuring that each one contributes to your development. Simplicity is another way to reduce the impact of challenges. Complexities and unnecessary burdens often amplify stress. By simplifying your life and focusing on what truly matters, you create a buffer against overwhelm. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Simplifying your priorities and minimizing distractions helps you approach challenges with clarity and calm. Stoicism teaches that responding calmly is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding difficulties. It is about mastering your reactions and approaching challenges with a sense of purpose and perspective. Through practices like acceptance, gratitude, empathy, and preparation, you build the resilience to face life's trials with composure. Each challenge becomes not an obstacle, but a chance to grow stronger and more centered. With each step, calmness becomes not just a response, but a defining feature of your approach to life. Calmly navigating challenges offers a foundation for a deeper transformation, the ability to overcome disappointment and rediscover joy. Disappointment often feels heavy, pulling your thoughts toward regret and frustration. It arises from unmet expectations, unforeseen failures, or a sense of loss. But within disappointment lies an opportunity, a chance to redefine your perspective, regain your balance, and uncover the hidden joys that persist even in the midst of setbacks. Stoicism provides the tools to turn disappointment into growth, allowing you to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and lightness. Disappointment often stems from misplaced expectations. When you expect a particular outcome and reality diverges, the gap creates emotional tension. Epictetus reminds us, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." By reflecting on your expectations, you can understand how they contribute to your sense of disappointment. Adjusting these expectations or aligning them with what is within your control reduces the power of disappointment to unsettle you. Acceptance is the first step to overcoming disappointment. Resisting reality only deepens frustration, while embracing the situation as it is frees you to adapt and respond constructively. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Disappointment, viewed through this lens, becomes not a failure, but a moment of change. By accepting the situation fully, you remove its emotional sting and open the door to new possibilities. Reframing your perspective is a powerful Stoic practice for moving beyond disappointment. Instead of focusing on what was lost, shift your attention to what remains. Seneca encouraged looking for the good even in misfortune, saying, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." This doesn't mean dismissing your feelings, but broadening your view to see the value and lessons hidden in setbacks. Reframing transforms disappointment into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Gratitude is another antidote to disappointment. When expectations are unmet, it's easy to dwell on what went wrong, but gratitude redirects your focus to what is still good. Reflecting on the aspects of your life that bring joy, stability, or meaning helps counterbalance the weight of disappointment. Seneca advised practicing gratitude daily, not only for what is pleasant, but also for what challenges you, as both contribute to your growth. Gratitude turns attention away from scarcity and toward abundance. Disappointment often lingers when tied to a sense of failure. Stoicism teaches that failure is not the end, but a chance to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By focusing on the effort rather than the outcome, you shift your attention from what went wrong to what you can learn. Failure becomes a teacher, and disappointment fades as its lessons emerge. Detachment from outcomes is central to overcoming disappointment. Many frustrations arise from clinging too tightly to specific results. Epictetus advised, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." This mindset frees you from the burden of unmet expectations, allowing you to approach life with greater flexibility and peace. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means investing fully in the process while releasing the need for a particular outcome. Empathy toward yourself is essential in moments of disappointment. It's easy to spiral into self-criticism, blaming yourself for not achieving what you hoped. But Stoicism encourages treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend. Reflect on the effort you made and the circumstances you faced, acknowledging your humanity. Seneca noted, "To err is human, but to persist in error is diabolical." Self-compassion creates space for learning and improvement rather than dwelling on regret. Disappointment often clouds your ability to see the bigger picture. Practicing perspective helps you place setbacks in context. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to look at life from a higher vantage point, saying, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This view reveals that many disappointments, while painful in the moment, are small in the broader tapestry of life. Perspective reduces the weight of disappointment, making room for joy to return. Silence can be a powerful tool for processing disappointment. In the aftermath of a setback, the temptation to vent or seek validation can amplify negative feelings. Choosing silence allows you to reflect without external noise. Marcus Aurelius valued solitude as a way to connect with one's inner self, finding clarity and strength in stillness. Silence creates a buffer between the event and your response, enabling you to approach the situation with thoughtfulness. Disappointment often masks opportunities. What appears to be a door closing might be a redirection to something better. Stoicism teaches that obstacles often contain hidden benefits. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By reframing disappointment as a signal to adjust your path, you transform it into a source of motivation. This shift in mindset fosters resilience and a sense of possibility. Journaling provides a structured way to process disappointment. Writing down your feelings and analyzing the situation helps uncover patterns and root causes. What expectations were unmet? Were they realistic? What can you learn from the experience? Journaling creates clarity, turning disappointment into insight. This practice aligns with the Stoic emphasis on reflection as a tool for growth. Purpose is another powerful counterbalance to disappointment. When you are deeply connected to a sense of purpose, setbacks feel less significant. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his duty and the larger meaning of his actions, reminding himself to stay focused on his purpose regardless of obstacles. Aligning your actions with your values and long-term goals provides a steady foundation that withstands the turbulence of disappointment. Simplicity helps reduce the emotional impact of disappointment. The more you attach your happiness to complex plans or excessive desires, the greater the potential for frustration. Seneca advised, "He who needs little is never poor." By simplifying your expectations and focusing on what truly matters, you create a buffer against disappointment. This approach fosters a contentment that is less dependent on external circumstances. Disappointment is also an opportunity to practice resilience. Life's challenges strengthen your ability to endure and adapt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Resilience grows with each setback you overcome, transforming disappointment into a foundation for future success. Finding joy after disappointment requires embracing impermanence. All feelings, whether joy or sorrow, are temporary. Epictetus taught, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." By accepting the ebb and flow of life, you learn to let go of disappointment and make space for joy. This perspective allows you to appreciate the present without being weighed down by the past. Overcoming disappointment with Stoic wisdom is not about denying the pain of setbacks, but about transforming how you respond to them. Through practices like acceptance, gratitude, detachment, and reflection, you shift your perspective, finding strength and joy even in the face of unmet expectations. Each disappointment becomes an opportunity to grow, deepen your understanding, and reconnect with what truly matters, paving the way for a life filled with enduring contentment. Overcoming disappointment clears the path for an even more profound practice, one that liberates your mind from resentment and anger: forgiveness. In the Stoic philosophy, forgiveness is not a sign of weakness or surrender, nor is it about condoning harmful actions. It is a profound act of self-care and strength, a way to reclaim your peace and focus. To forgive is to free yourself from the heavy burden of carrying someone else's wrongdoing. Through forgiveness, you rise above the grip of anger and resentment, allowing clarity and tranquility to flourish. Stoicism offers a unique perspective on forgiveness, one rooted in understanding human nature and the power of controlling your own mind. Forgiveness begins with recognizing that holding on to anger harms you far more than the person who wronged you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you are offended at someone's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." This advice shifts the focus inward, reminding you that everyone, including you, is flawed. By reflecting on your own mistakes, you soften the harsh judgment you might hold toward others. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but helps you understand that imperfection is a shared human experience. The Stoic approach to forgiveness is grounded in empathy. Understanding why someone acted a certain way helps dissolve the intense emotions tied to their actions. Seneca advised, "Whenever we are angered by someone's conduct, let us look into their hearts and their circumstances. Perhaps their behavior was driven by ignorance, fear, or pain. By seeking to understand their motives, you create room for compassion, which naturally leads to forgiveness." Compassion doesn't mean agreeing with their actions. It means recognizing their humanity. Another cornerstone of forgiveness in Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that you cannot control others' actions, only your response to them. Holding on to resentment is an attempt to change the past, an effort as futile as trying to hold back the tide. By accepting that what has happened cannot be undone, you release yourself from the struggle. Forgiveness becomes an act of reclaiming your energy, redirecting it toward what you can influence, your present and your future. Perspective is key to forgiveness. When someone wrongs you, the initial reaction often magnifies the event's significance. But stepping back and viewing the situation within the larger context of your life can reveal its true scale. Marcus Aurelius practiced the view from above, imagining himself looking down on the earth, seeing how small and fleeting individual conflicts are. This exercise helps you see that many grievances are not worth the emotional energy they consume. By putting the event into perspective, forgiveness becomes a logical and liberating choice. Forgiveness also requires humility. Anger and resentment often stem from an inflated sense of self-importance, the belief that someone else's actions were a personal attack. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You are but a soul carrying a corpse." This humility doesn't diminish your worth, but reminds you that life is too short and precious to waste on holding grudges. By releasing the need to defend your ego, you open the door to forgiveness and peace. Acceptance is another powerful tool for forgiveness. The Stoics taught that resisting reality only deepens suffering. When you accept that the harm has occurred and cannot be undone, you free yourself from the cycle of revisiting and reliving the event. Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and you will find peace." Forgiveness is an act of aligning yourself with reality, letting go of the desire for things to have been different. Forgiveness is not just about others, it is also about forgiving yourself. Self-forgiveness is a crucial part of inner peace, as guilt and regret can weigh as heavily as anger. The Stoics encouraged self-reflection, not self-condemnation. Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Extending patience and understanding to yourself allows you to learn from mistakes without being burdened by them. Self-forgiveness is not about ignoring responsibility, but about accepting your imperfections and committing to growth. Practicing forgiveness requires letting go of the desire for revenge. Anger often tempts you to retaliate, but Stoicism teaches that revenge does not heal wounds, it deepens them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Choosing forgiveness over revenge preserves your integrity and keeps you aligned with your values. By refusing to act out of anger, you demonstrate true strength and control over your emotions. Silence and stillness are powerful practices for cultivating forgiveness. When emotions are high, stepping away from the situation allows you to reflect and regain clarity. Marcus Aurelius valued solitude as a means of connecting with one's inner self, saying, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Taking time for silence helps you process emotions and approach forgiveness with a calm and thoughtful mindset. Forgiveness also involves reframing the harm done to you. While the pain may be real, it doesn't have to define you. The Stoics taught that your interpretation of events determines their impact. Epictetus advised, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." By reframing the event as a lesson or an opportunity for growth, you shift from a position of victimhood to one of empowerment. This shift makes forgiveness a natural step forward. Empathy extends beyond understanding others. It involves recognizing the interconnectedness of all people. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." By forgiving others, you contribute to a cycle of healing and harmony that benefits everyone. Forgiveness strengthens relationships and fosters a sense of unity, helping you find peace not only within yourself, but also with those around you. Forgiveness is not a one-time act, but an ongoing practice. Some wounds may require revisiting forgiveness multiple times as emotions resurface. The Stoics encouraged patience in all endeavors, including emotional healing. Seneca noted, "Time heals what reason cannot." Each step toward forgiveness strengthens your ability to let go, creating a habit of releasing anger and embracing peace. Another essential element of forgiveness is gratitude. Reflecting on what remains good in your life shifts your focus away from the harm done. Gratitude reminds you that no single event defines your existence. By appreciating the positive aspects of your life, you build resilience against the bitterness that resentment fosters. Gratitude and forgiveness work hand in hand, each reinforcing the other. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or condoning. It is about freeing yourself. Holding on to anger ties you to the person or event that harmed you, keeping you tethered to the past. By choosing forgiveness, you reclaim your power and move forward unburdened. Epictetus taught, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Forgiveness is the ultimate act of freedom, a release from the grip of anger and pain. Through Stoic practices, forgiveness becomes a path to inner peace. It allows you to rise above anger, connect with your values, and cultivate a life of clarity and harmony. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is profoundly liberating. By embracing this practice, you reclaim your emotional well-being and create space for joy, connection, and growth. Each act of forgiveness strengthens your resolve and deepens your sense of peace, making it a cornerstone of a balanced and fulfilling life. Forgiveness clears the heart of resentment, but it also opens the door for something transformative: gratitude. Where forgiveness lightens the emotional load, gratitude fills the space with warmth, perspective, and resilience. Anger thrives in a mindset focused on what is lacking or unfair, but gratitude shifts that focus. It illuminates what is good, present, and abundant, even in the midst of difficulty. Gratitude is not merely a fleeting feeling, but a practice that reframes how you experience the world. In the Stoic tradition, gratitude is a powerful tool for dissolving anger and cultivating joy, offering a steady foundation for inner peace and strength. Gratitude begins with a shift in perspective. Anger often arises when expectations clash with reality, fueling frustration over unmet desires. Marcus Aurelius taught that we must train our minds to see the positive even in challenging circumstances. He wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'I am fortunate to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love.'" Gratitude for the simple, undeniable gifts of existence helps ground you, reducing the grip of anger over fleeting disappointments. A practice central to Stoicism is reflecting on what you have rather than dwelling on what is absent. Seneca noted that people often grow angry because they desire more than they have, forgetting the abundance already present in their lives. He wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Gratitude turns your attention to the present, to what is here and now, allowing contentment to replace frustration. When anger tempts you to focus on a slight or loss, gratitude gently redirects you toward what remains. Gratitude also reframes relationships. Anger often stems from feeling wronged by others, but gratitude reminds you of the kindnesses, support, and connections that outweigh those grievances. Seneca encouraged the practice of actively recalling the good others have done for you, rather than fixating on their flaws or mistakes. This doesn't mean ignoring harm, but balancing your perspective, which softens anger and fosters understanding. Gratitude transforms relationships by nurturing a sense of appreciation rather than bitterness. In moments of anger, pausing to express gratitude can break the cycle of escalating emotions. Anger narrows focus, amplifying the perceived offense, but gratitude expands your view. Marcus Aurelius suggested this practice, writing, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." Gratitude shifts your attention to the vastness and wonder of existence, placing temporary frustrations into a much larger context. This perspective disarms anger, replacing it with a sense of wonder and humility. Stoicism also teaches the value of anticipating gratitude. Practicing premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of misfortunes, helps you appreciate what you currently have by contemplating its potential absence. Epictetus advised, "Consider that everything you have is on loan from the universe, to be returned at any time." This mindset fosters deep appreciation for even the most mundane aspects of life. When you view possessions, relationships, or health as temporary gifts, anger over their imperfections diminishes, replaced by gratitude for their presence. A specific Stoic exercise involves journaling gratitude daily. Writing down what you are thankful for creates a habit of recognizing goodness even on difficult days. Seneca suggested reflecting each evening on what went well, no matter how small. This ritual trains the mind to seek positive elements in any situation, gradually weakening anger's hold. Over time, this practice rewires your mental patterns, making gratitude an instinctive response rather than a forced effort. Gratitude is also a powerful tool for resilience. Anger often arises when challenges or setbacks feel overwhelming, but gratitude shifts the focus to your capacity to endure and overcome. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Viewing obstacles through the lens of gratitude transforms them into opportunities for growth. Gratitude for your inner strength, resources, or the lessons embedded in hardship diminishes anger and fosters determination. Gratitude aligns closely with the Stoic principle of accepting what is beyond your control. Epictetus taught that anger often results from trying to change the unchangeable, while gratitude flourishes in acceptance. By focusing on what is good within your sphere of control, you replace the futile struggle against reality with appreciation for what you can influence. This shift not only reduces anger, but also cultivates a sense of empowerment and contentment. Gratitude for nature is another practice the Stoics valued. The natural world, with its rhythms and beauty, offers a constant source of perspective and peace. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on nature's order as a reminder of life's interconnectedness. By appreciating the simplicity of a sunrise, the resilience of a tree, or the flow of water, you connect with a sense of harmony that quiets anger and fosters gratitude. This practice draws attention away from human conflicts and toward the enduring patterns of the world. The act of expressing gratitude strengthens its impact. When you acknowledge others' contributions or kindness, you not only enhance your own sense of appreciation, but also nurture connections. Gratitude expressed openly builds bridges, even in strained relationships, softening anger and fostering reconciliation. Seneca wrote, "A benefit is estimated not by the magnitude of the gift, but by the gratitude of the receiver." Sharing gratitude multiplies its effects, creating a cycle of positivity that counteracts anger. Gratitude also extends to challenges themselves. While it may feel counterintuitive, reflecting on the lessons or growth opportunities within difficulties shifts your emotional response. Marcus Aurelius suggested viewing every event, even misfortunes, as part of the natural order, saying, "Everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." Gratitude for the strength gained through adversity transforms anger into acceptance and resilience. Another way gratitude dissolves anger is by redirecting attention to shared humanity. Anger often isolates, creating an us versus them mentality, but gratitude fosters connection. Epictetus reminded his students that everyone acts according to their understanding, saying, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." Recognizing shared struggles and limitations encourages empathy, making it easier to replace anger with appreciation for the complexity of human experience. Practicing gratitude for life's transience also calms anger. Stoicism teaches that everything is fleeting, from possessions to relationships to life itself. Reflecting on this impermanence shifts focus from grievances to the value of the present moment. Epictetus advised, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." Gratitude for the impermanence of all things reminds you to cherish rather than resent, to appreciate rather than begrudge. Gratitude strengthens your sense of purpose. Anger often arises when you feel blocked or diverted from your goals, but gratitude reconnects you with what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius encouraged aligning actions with purpose, writing, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Gratitude for the opportunity to act, grow, or contribute transforms setbacks into meaningful moments. This focus on purpose dissipates anger, replacing it with clarity and drive. Through Stoic practices, gratitude becomes more than an antidote to anger. It becomes a way of life. By consistently redirecting your focus toward what is good, enduring, and meaningful, gratitude reshapes your emotional landscape. It disarms anger, fosters resilience, and deepens your connection to the world around you. With each act of gratitude, you cultivate a foundation of peace and joy that withstands life's challenges, offering clarity and calmness even in the face of adversity. Gratitude clears the way for a transformative mindset, one where perspective becomes your most powerful tool for navigating anger. Where gratitude softens the edges of frustration, perspective reshapes the very foundation of how you view life's challenges. Anger often thrives in narrow, immediate reactions, amplifying slights and perceived wrongs. Perspective, on the other hand, broadens your view, helping you see the bigger picture and understand the true weight or insignificance of the moment. It is the key to stepping outside the storm of emotion and into a space of calm, reason, and clarity. The first step in using perspective to overcome anger is recognizing that anger is often fueled by a limited viewpoint. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom reminds us that anger is not caused by events themselves, but by how we perceive and interpret them. By consciously expanding your perspective, you can diffuse the intensity of anger and replace it with understanding and balance. Perspective begins with detachment. When anger flares, it's tempting to view the situation as a personal attack or an insurmountable problem. Stoicism teaches that detachment allows you to see the event as it truly is, without the added layers of emotional interpretation. Epictetus advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In moments of anger, this means stepping back from the heat of emotion and observing the situation as if you were an impartial outsider. This practice helps you identify whether your reaction is justified or exaggerated. One effective Stoic exercise for cultivating perspective is the view from above. Marcus Aurelius often visualized himself looking down on the world, observing people and events from a great height. This mental exercise shrinks the perceived importance of individual conflicts, revealing them as small pieces of a much larger whole. By imagining the vastness of life, the universe, or even the passage of time, you gain a sense of proportion that weakens anger's grip. What feels overwhelming in the moment becomes manageable or even trivial when viewed from a broader perspective. Perspective also involves understanding the fleeting nature of life and emotions. Anger often feels all-consuming, but Stoicism teaches that both the cause of anger and the emotion itself are temporary. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen and a violent stream, for as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place." Recognizing the impermanence of anger helps you let it pass without clinging to it, just as you would let go of a leaf floating down a river. Another way perspective aids in overcoming anger is by highlighting the humanity of others. When someone wrongs you, anger often paints them as an adversary, exaggerating their faults and dismissing their struggles. Stoicism encourages empathy, reminding us that everyone acts based on their understanding and circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. By viewing their actions through the lens of their experiences and limitations, you soften your anger and make room for understanding." Perspective also involves separating what is within your control from what is not. Anger often arises from attempting to control the uncontrollable, such as other people's actions or external events. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This principle helps you focus on your response rather than the trigger, empowering you to maintain calm even in challenging situations. By shifting your perspective to what you can influence, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to change what you cannot. Reframing is another powerful tool for altering perspective. When faced with a situation that provokes anger, consider alternative interpretations. For example, instead of viewing someone's rude behavior as an attack, you might see it as a reflection of their stress or pain. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Reframing shifts your focus from blame to curiosity, helping you understand rather than react. Perspective also teaches you to question the significance of the event. Marcus Aurelius often asked himself whether a situation would matter in the grand scheme of things, or even in a week's time. By considering the long-term impact, you reduce the immediate emotional charge of the event. Many provocations lose their power when viewed through the lens of time, making it easier to let go of anger. Gratitude and perspective are deeply interconnected. While gratitude focuses on appreciating what is good, perspective reminds you to weigh what is truly important. When anger tempts you to dwell on a perceived wrong, shifting to gratitude for what remains good balances your emotional state. This combination allows you to see the situation in a more nuanced and constructive way, reducing the intensity of anger. Perspective also involves recognizing the role of ego in anger. Many conflicts arise from a bruised sense of pride or an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you are offended at someone's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. By acknowledging your own imperfections, you release the need to hold others to unrealistic standards, making it easier to forgive and move forward. Another aspect of perspective is understanding the universality of human struggles. Anger often feels isolating, as though the situation is uniquely unfair or difficult. Stoicism teaches that all people face challenges and disappointments. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nothing happens to anyone that he is not fitted by nature to bear." Recognizing that your experiences are part of the shared human condition reduces feelings of injustice and helps you respond with greater calm and strength. Silence and reflection are essential for cultivating perspective. In the heat of anger, immediate reactions often cloud judgment and escalate conflict. Choosing silence gives you time to reflect and reframe the situation. Seneca noted, "Silence at the proper season is wisdom and better than any speech." This pause creates space for perspective to emerge, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Perspective also involves focusing on solutions rather than problems. Anger often fixates on what went wrong, but a shift in focus toward what can be done fosters a sense of agency and hope. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By directing your energy toward constructive action, you dissolve anger and replace it with purpose. Practicing the Stoic principle of aligning with nature fosters perspective. Life is full of challenges, but they are part of the natural order. Epictetus taught that accepting this truth helps you approach difficulties with equanimity rather than resistance. Viewing obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than disruptions strengthens your ability to navigate them with calm and clarity. Through the lens of Stoicism, perspective is not just a tool for overcoming anger. It is a way of seeing the world that fosters resilience, understanding, and peace. By broadening your view, questioning assumptions, and focusing on what truly matters, you transform anger into insight and strength. With each practice, perspective becomes a natural response, illuminating a path of calmness and wisdom through life's challenges. Perspective allows you to reframe situations, reducing anger and revealing opportunities for growth. But nowhere is this more transformative than in the face of criticism. Criticism, whether gentle feedback or harsh judgment, often provokes a defensive reaction, stirring feelings of anger, embarrassment, or self-doubt. Yet Stoicism teaches that criticism can be one of the most valuable tools for self-improvement. By shifting focus from the emotional sting to the underlying insight, you can transform criticism into a stepping stone toward growth and mastery. The first step in handling criticism is separating the feedback from the ego. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." This mindset emphasizes the pursuit of truth over the need to protect one's pride. When you approach criticism with humility, you open yourself to learning and improvement rather than becoming mired in defensiveness. Criticism often feels personal, but Stoicism reminds us that it reflects the critic's perspective, not an absolute truth. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle helps you view criticism objectively, analyzing its content without attaching unnecessary emotional weight. By focusing on the substance of the feedback rather than its tone or delivery, you can discern whether it holds value and apply it constructively. One way to transform criticism into growth is by practicing self-reflection. After receiving feedback, take time to evaluate its validity. Marcus Aurelius often examined his own thoughts and actions, asking whether they aligned with his principles. Criticism provides an opportunity to do the same. Ask yourself whether the feedback highlights a genuine area for improvement or stems from misunderstanding. This process not only refines your self-awareness, but also reduces the emotional intensity of the critique. Gratitude can also play a role in responding to criticism. Seneca wrote, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver." When someone offers constructive criticism, it is often a sign of care or investment in your growth. Even harsh or poorly delivered feedback can contain useful insights if approached with the right mindset. Expressing gratitude for the opportunity to learn rather than resenting the critique shifts your focus to its potential benefits. Criticism is most challenging when it feels unfair or unjustified. Stoicism teaches that such situations are opportunities to practice resilience and equanimity. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." By refusing to take unwarranted criticism personally, you maintain control over your emotional state. Instead of reacting defensively, seek to understand the critic's perspective, which may reveal misunderstandings or areas where communication can improve. Another powerful Stoic principle is recognizing that no one is immune to error, including the critic. Epictetus observed, "When someone criticizes you, do not immediately defend yourself or attack them. Instead, ask yourself whether what they say is true. If it is, change yourself. If it is not, take it lightly." This approach helps you maintain composure and discern whether the feedback holds merit. By acknowledging the critic's humanity, you cultivate compassion rather than anger. Criticism can also serve as a mirror, reflecting how others perceive you. While this reflection may not always be flattering, it offers a valuable perspective that can guide self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinions of others should be considered, but they should not govern your actions." Use criticism to gain insight into how your behavior affects others, but remain rooted in your values and principles as you decide whether to act on the feedback. Humility is a key virtue in handling criticism. Pride often blocks the ability to accept feedback, leading to defensiveness and missed opportunities for growth. Seneca noted, "He who is brave is free." In this context, bravery means letting go of the need to appear flawless and embracing the vulnerability required to learn from criticism. Humility allows you to view feedback as a tool for growth rather than a threat to your identity. Silence can be a powerful response to criticism, especially when emotions run high. Reacting immediately often escalates tension, whereas silence creates space for reflection and thoughtful response. Marcus Aurelius valued the discipline of holding back unnecessary words, saying, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." Silence in the face of criticism demonstrates self-control and allows you to process the feedback without being swayed by initial emotions. Reframing criticism as an opportunity rather than an attack helps neutralize its emotional impact. For example, instead of seeing feedback as a judgment on your character, view it as a spotlight on an area where you can improve. Epictetus taught, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." Criticism, when reframed, becomes a chance to strengthen your skills, clarify your intentions, or refine your approach. Criticism often stings because it challenges the ego's desire for approval. Stoicism encourages detachment from external validation, emphasizing inner contentment and alignment with one's values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." By focusing on living virtuously rather than seeking praise, You reduce the power of criticism to disturb your peace. Criticism also provides an opportunity to practice forgiveness, both toward the critic and yourself. Seneca noted that holding on to anger only prolongs suffering, saying, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Forgiving the critic for their harshness or misunderstanding, and forgiving yourself for any shortcomings revealed by the feedback, clears the emotional weight of the critique. This practice fosters a sense of calm and clarity, enabling you to focus on growth. Engaging with criticism constructively can also improve relationships. Responding to feedback with openness and curiosity demonstrates respect for the critic's perspective, even if you ultimately disagree. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This principle reminds you to approach criticism with honesty and integrity, fostering mutual understanding and trust. Use criticism as a guide to refine your goals and actions. Feedback, whether positive or negative, provides valuable data about what is working and what can be improved. Marcus Aurelius viewed life as a constant process of refinement, saying, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By embracing criticism as part of this process, you turn obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. Through the lens of Stoicism, criticism ceases to be a source of anger or frustration. Instead, it becomes a tool for self-awareness, growth, and connection. By detaching from ego, practicing humility, and seeking the truth within feedback, you transform criticism into a powerful ally on your journey of personal development. With each critique, you gain not only insight, but also the strength and resilience to thrive in the face of life's challenges. Criticism reveals vulnerabilities, often rooted in the ego's desire for validation and perfection. As you transform criticism into a tool for growth, the next step is to address the deeper source of these vulnerabilities, the ego itself. The ego, with its constant demands for recognition and superiority, is the spark that often ignites anger and frustration. Detaching from the ego is not about diminishing yourself, but about freeing yourself from its grip. It's about stepping outside the need for approval or control and finding peace in humility and self-awareness. This journey toward detachment unlocks a profound sense of freedom, enabling you to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. The ego thrives on the illusion of control and the need for external validation. When these are threatened, it reacts with defensiveness, anger, or frustration. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This profound statement invites you to let go of the ego's need to always appear correct or superior. Embracing humility disarms the ego's defensiveness, allowing you to respond to challenges with calmness and clarity rather than emotional reactivity. Freedom through detachment begins with self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius encouraged examining your thoughts and actions to identify where the ego might be at play. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Recognizing when your reactions are ego-driven is the first step toward mastering them. For instance, anger over a perceived slight often stems from the ego's desire to be treated with respect. By stepping back and observing this reaction, you can choose to respond with reason instead of emotion. The ego often confuses self-worth with external achievements or status. Stoicism teaches that true worth comes from living virtuously and in alignment with your principles, not from what others think or how much you achieve. Seneca reminded us, "What progress have I made? I am beginning to be my own friend." Detachment from the ego involves redefining success as internal growth rather than external recognition, freeing you from the constant chase for validation. Detachment requires accepting imperfection. The ego resists this, striving to create an image of flawlessness that often leads to frustration and anger when reality doesn't align. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This acceptance extends to yourself, allowing you to let go of the ego's unrealistic standards and embrace your humanity. When you no longer fear imperfection, the pressure to defend or justify yourself diminishes, creating space for peace. Practicing gratitude weakens the ego's hold. The ego focuses on what is lacking or unfair, while gratitude shifts attention to what is present and good. By cultivating a sense of appreciation for the simple and profound aspects of life, you diminish the ego's influence. Epictetus taught, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude grounds you in the present, reducing the ego's tendency to dwell on past slights or future desires. The ego often ties identity to roles, possessions, or relationships, creating attachments that lead to suffering when they are threatened or lost. Detachment involves recognizing that these external factors do not define your essence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This perspective encourages you to focus on the core of who you are, your values, intentions, and actions, rather than on transient externalities. Detachment from the ego fosters forgiveness. When the ego is in control, it clings to grudges, interpreting them as threats to self-worth. By letting go of the ego's need for retribution, you open the door to forgiveness, both for others and yourself. Seneca noted, "To forgive is not weakness, it is strength." Detachment from ego-driven anger allows you to release resentment and find freedom in peace. The practice of silence strengthens detachment. The ego often seeks to dominate conversations, assert opinions, or defend itself against perceived slights. Marcus Aurelius valued silence as a discipline that fosters inner strength, saying, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Choosing silence in moments of conflict or criticism creates space for reflection and prevents the ego from escalating tensions. Reframing challenges as opportunities for growth weakens the ego's grip. The ego views obstacles as threats to its image or control, but Stoicism teaches that they are essential for developing resilience and wisdom. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." By embracing challenges as part of life's natural flow, you detach from the ego's resistance and approach difficulties with curiosity and courage. The ego often fosters comparisons, fueling envy or pride. Detachment involves recognizing the futility of measuring yourself against others. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not waste the remaining part of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility." Focusing on your own growth and values liberates you from the ego's need to compete or compare, allowing you to find contentment within. Empathy toward others helps dissolve the ego's barriers. When you view others through the lens of understanding and compassion, the ego's tendency to judge or belittle diminishes. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Empathy shifts focus from the self to the shared human experience, creating connections that transcend the ego's isolating tendencies. Detachment from ego fosters resilience. The ego seeks to avoid discomfort or failure, but Stoicism teaches that these experiences are essential for growth. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By embracing setbacks as opportunities rather than threats, you develop a strength that is unshaken by life's challenges. Practicing voluntary discomfort weakens the ego's attachment to comfort and control. By deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone, you train yourself to face difficulties with equanimity. Epictetus encouraged this practice, saying, "Make it your habit not to be distracted by the multitude of things." Detachment from the ego's demands for ease builds resilience and fosters freedom from unnecessary desires. Detachment from ego aligns with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with nature. Life is unpredictable and often uncontrollable, and the ego's attempts to dominate or resist this reality lead to frustration. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given, and truly love the people with whom destiny has surrounded you." Accepting life's flow and embracing your role within it dissolves the ego's resistance, creating a sense of peace and alignment. Through the practice of detachment, the ego ceases to be a source of anger or frustration. Instead, it becomes a guide for self-awareness and growth. By embracing humility, gratitude, and acceptance, you free yourself from the ego's chains and discover the profound sense of freedom that comes from living authentically and at peace with the world. Detachment from the ego brings a profound sense of freedom, but to fully harness this freedom, another skill must be cultivated: the power of silence. In a world filled with noise and impulsive reactions, silence stands as a beacon of wisdom and self-control. It is not merely the absence of words, but a deliberate choice to pause, reflect, and act with clarity. Silence holds the potential to transform conflicts, misunderstandings, and emotional upheavals into opportunities for growth and understanding. It is the ultimate Stoic tool for responding to life's challenges with wisdom rather than emotion. The first power of silence lies in its ability to create space. When faced with provocation, the immediate impulse is to react, often fueled by anger or defensiveness. Stoicism teaches that silence interrupts this cycle, giving you the time to assess your emotions and thoughts before responding. Epictetus advised, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This wisdom highlights the importance of thoughtful communication over hasty words, which often escalate tensions rather than resolve them. Silence also acts as a mirror, reflecting the true nature of the situation. In moments of conflict, emotions can distort perception, amplifying offenses and fueling misunderstandings. By choosing silence, you allow emotions to settle, revealing the situation's actual scale and significance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Silence provides the clarity needed to re-evaluate your perspective, diminishing the emotional charge of the moment. In interactions with others, silence demonstrates strength and composure. While loud words often signal insecurity or desperation, silence conveys confidence and control. Seneca observed, "Speech is a mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so is he." By choosing silence, you project an image of self-mastery, which can de-escalate conflicts and inspire respect. This quiet strength often speaks louder than words, influencing outcomes without unnecessary confrontation. Silence is also a tool for understanding. When emotions run high, it is easy to misinterpret others' intentions or motivations. Choosing to listen rather than speak creates space for empathy and insight. Marcus Aurelius encouraged listening with an open mind, writing, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." Listening through silence helps you grasp the underlying dynamics of the situation, allowing for a more measured and compassionate response. Pausing before responding aligns with the Stoic practice of controlling what is within your power. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Silence gives you the ability to choose your reaction rather than being swept away by emotion. In this pause, you reclaim your agency, transforming potential conflict into an opportunity for reasoned dialogue or reflection. Silence also protects relationships. Words spoken in anger often leave lasting scars, even when apologies follow. By choosing silence in heated moments, you prevent unnecessary harm and preserve the integrity of your connections. Seneca emphasized the importance of measured speech, saying, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Silence becomes a form of emotional delay, allowing you to address issues thoughtfully and with care. In addition to its interpersonal benefits, silence nurtures inner peace. The constant need to justify, argue, or defend drains emotional energy, leaving little room for tranquility. Marcus Aurelius valued silence as a retreat, saying, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Embracing silence as a regular practice creates a sanctuary for self-reflection, where clarity and calmness can flourish. The power of silence extends to observation. By quieting your own voice, you become more attuned to the world around you. This heightened awareness allows you to notice details and patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of all things, writing, "Observe always that everything is the result of change, and get used to thinking that there is nothing nature loves so well as to change existing forms." Silence fosters this mindfulness, enhancing your ability to respond thoughtfully to life's inevitable changes. Silence also strengthens resilience. When provoked, reacting with silence requires discipline and self-control. Epictetus noted, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Choosing silence in challenging moments builds this mastery, making it easier to remain composed in future trials. Over time, this practice fortifies your emotional resilience, allowing you to face adversity with unwavering calmness. One of the most profound aspects of silence is its ability to reveal truth. Words often obscure understanding, layering opinions and emotions over reality. Silence strips away these layers, allowing the essence of the situation to emerge. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not be perturbed, for all things are according to the nature of the universal law." In silence, you connect with this universal law, gaining insight that transcends immediate circumstances. Silence is not passive, but active. It requires effort and intention to hold back words, especially in moments of tension or provocation. Seneca described this discipline as an art, saying, "Let us avoid all unseasonable language. Speech that is overfree and unrestrained leads to all manner of indiscretions." Mastering this art transforms silence into a powerful form of communication, one that conveys thoughtfulness and respect. In relationships, silence fosters deeper connections. By listening attentively and refraining from interrupting, you show genuine interest in others' perspectives. This act of quiet presence strengthens bonds, creating a foundation of trust and understanding. Marcus Aurelius encouraged this approach, writing, "Kindness is invincible, provided it is sincere, not fawning or pretended." Silence, when coupled with kindness, becomes a tool for building harmony and mutual respect. Practicing silence also aligns with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with nature. Nature operates without words, relying on rhythms, patterns, and cycles to sustain itself. By embracing silence, you mirror this natural balance, finding peace in the simplicity of being rather than the complexity of constant expression. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Silence allows you to embody this patience and flow. The transformative power of silence lies in its ability to create space for reflection, understanding, and growth. It interrupts the cycle of reactive emotion, offering clarity and perspective in its place. Through silence, you cultivate a sense of mastery over yourself and your interactions, turning challenges into opportunities for wisdom and peace. With each deliberate pause, silence becomes not an absence, but a presence, one that speaks volumes in its quiet strength. Silence teaches the value of holding space for clarity and restraint, allowing wisdom to emerge from stillness. This practice, when combined with a deeper understanding of impermanence, becomes a powerful means to dissolve anger. Anger feeds on the illusion of permanence, on the belief that what we possess, expect, or experience should endure unchanged. Yet life, by its very nature, is a continuous flow of transformation. Accepting this truth offers a path to profound peace, freeing you from the grip of attachment and the turmoil it creates. Impermanence is not an abstract concept, but a reality we encounter daily. Relationships, possessions, achievements, and even the seasons of our lives are in constant flux. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Everything you see will soon alter and cease to exist." This insight is not meant to evoke despair, but to cultivate a mindset of appreciation and balance. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, anger loses its power, as much of it stems from resistance to inevitable change. Attachment is at the root of many emotional disturbances. You grow attached to people, outcomes, or ideas, and when they shift or slip away, anger arises as a defense against loss. Epictetus taught, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will find peace." Detaching from rigid expectations about permanence helps you navigate life's uncertainties with grace. Instead of clinging to what is passing, you learn to flow with change, releasing anger born from unmet desires. Impermanence also offers the gift of perspective. When faced with anger, stepping back to reflect on the temporary nature of the situation can shift your emotional response. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the fleeting nature of both joys and troubles, writing, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Recognizing that time erodes even the sharpest pain helps soften anger, replacing it with a sense of calm acceptance. Another key lesson of impermanence is the understanding that life's challenges, no matter how overwhelming they may feel, are not permanent fixtures. Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." This wisdom invites you to see setbacks as part of the natural ebb and flow of existence. When you stop expecting unchanging stability, anger gives way to adaptability, and the pain of loss transforms into the opportunity for renewal. Practicing gratitude is a powerful way to embrace impermanence. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you might lose to what you currently have, fostering a sense of presence and appreciation. When you cherish each moment as fleeting, anger over what is missing or changing diminishes. Epictetus encouraged this mindset, saying, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude anchors you in the present, where impermanence becomes a source of wonder rather than frustration. Impermanence also teaches resilience. By acknowledging that change is inevitable, you build a mental and emotional foundation that can weather life's storms. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Challenges, viewed through the lens of impermanence, become stepping stones rather than barriers. This perspective reduces anger's intensity as you learn to adapt and grow rather than resist. Detachment from material possessions is another important practice. Possessions are often viewed as extensions of identity or stability, yet their impermanence is undeniable. Seneca advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Letting go of attachment to material things reduces the anger and frustration that arise from their loss or damage. Instead, you focus on what truly matters: character, wisdom, and the connections you build with others. Relationships also benefit from the acceptance of impermanence. Clinging to the idea that relationships should remain constant creates tension and unrealistic expectations. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to approach others with compassion, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By understanding that people grow and change, you release the anger that arises from unmet expectations, fostering deeper and more harmonious connections. Meditation on impermanence is a practical Stoic exercise for dissolving anger. Reflecting on the transient nature of all things helps you develop equanimity. Epictetus recommended visualizing the loss of cherished possessions or relationships, not as a form of pessimism, but as a way to deepen gratitude and prepare for life's uncertainties. This practice creates a mindset of acceptance, where anger is replaced by an appreciation for the fleeting beauty of life. Impermanence also invites you to focus on what is within your control. Much of the frustration tied to anger comes from trying to hold on to things beyond your influence. Epictetus taught, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Redirecting your energy toward cultivating inner stability and wisdom reduces the power of external changes to disrupt your peace. Freedom through impermanence involves embracing the idea that endings are not losses, but transitions. Every chapter that closes paves the way for a new one to begin. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Seeing endings as part of the natural cycle of life helps dissolve anger over what is gone, allowing you to focus on the opportunities that lie ahead. Impermanence also encourages humility. Clinging to permanence often stems from a desire for control, yet life's unpredictability humbles even the most determined efforts. Seneca noted, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Accepting life's impermanence fosters a sense of humility, reducing the ego-driven anger that arises from unmet expectations or perceived slights. Letting go of permanence does not mean indifference or detachment from life's joys. Instead, it deepens your appreciation for the present moment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life." By embracing the transient nature of each experience, you replace anger with gratitude and regret with fulfillment. Impermanence becomes not a source of sorrow, but a reminder to live fully. Through the lens of impermanence, life's challenges and changes take on new meaning. Instead of resisting the inevitable, you learn to move with it, finding peace and purpose in the flow. By embracing impermanence, anger dissolves, making space for clarity, acceptance, and joy. This practice transforms how you navigate the world, offering a steady foundation in the midst of life's ever-changing tides. Accepting impermanence reveals the ever-changing nature of life and softens anger's grip. But true transformation requires more than understanding. It calls for practice. Resilience is the armor that protects your peace, allowing you to face challenges without being swept away by emotions. Building resilience is not a one-time event, but a daily commitment to cultivating strength and clarity. Through consistent Stoic rituals, you can lay a foundation for emotional steadiness, ensuring that anger and frustration no longer dictate your reactions. Resilience begins with preparing your mind each morning. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish between good and evil.'" Starting the day with this reflection equips you to face difficult interactions with calmness and understanding. Acknowledging potential challenges beforehand reduces the shock of encountering them, making it easier to respond with patience rather than anger. Daily morning reflections also involve setting intentions for how you wish to act. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This practice ensures that your actions align with your values rather than being dictated by fleeting emotions. By taking a few moments each morning to visualize how you want to navigate your day with patience, kindness, or discipline, you create a mental roadmap for maintaining composure. Another key practice is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotions helps clarify what drives them, revealing patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. Seneca often used writing to reflect on his experiences and refine his responses, saying, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." Journaling serves as a tool for self-awareness, helping you identify triggers for anger and develop strategies to handle them with grace. Evening reviews are equally important in building resilience. At the end of each day, reflect on your actions and assess where you succeeded or faltered in maintaining emotional balance. Marcus Aurelius frequently practiced this, examining whether he lived up to his principles and how he could improve. This review is not about self-criticism, but about learning and growing. By acknowledging your progress and areas for improvement, you strengthen your emotional foundation. Resilience also involves practicing gratitude regularly. Anger often stems from focusing on what is wrong, while gratitude shifts attention to what is right. Epictetus emphasized the importance of appreciating what you have, saying, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude reframes your perspective, reducing the intensity of anger and fostering a sense of contentment. Stoic meditation on control is another daily ritual that fortifies resilience. Reflecting on what lies within your power and what does not helps you focus your energy on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This practice builds a mental boundary between you and external circumstances, reducing the likelihood of being overwhelmed by anger. Another daily practice is voluntary discomfort. Deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone helps you build tolerance for adversity, making you less reactive to unexpected challenges. Seneca recommended this exercise, saying, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By facing discomfort willingly, you prepare yourself to handle difficulties with calmness and resilience. Mindful breathing is a simple yet powerful tool for emotional regulation. Controlled breathing slows down your physiological response to stress, allowing you to regain composure before reacting. Epictetus advised, "Make it your habit not to be distracted by the multitude of things. Focusing on your breath anchors you in the present moment, helping you respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively." Practicing kindness and understanding is another way to build resilience. Marcus Aurelius encouraged treating others with compassion, saying, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This mindset shifts your focus from anger to empathy, strengthening your ability to handle interpersonal challenges with grace. Resilience also grows through consistent reflection on mortality. Acknowledging life's brevity helps you let go of trivial frustrations and focus on what truly matters. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." By keeping mortality in mind, you cultivate a sense of urgency to live virtuously, leaving no room for anger to dominate your thoughts. Another practice is framing obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Viewing challenges as stepping stones rather than barriers transforms your relationship with adversity. This shift in perspective not only reduces anger, but also builds confidence in your ability to overcome difficulties. Detachment from outcomes is a critical component of resilience. Epictetus taught that while you can control your efforts, the results often lie beyond your influence. Accepting this truth helps you focus on what you can do rather than being consumed by anger over what you cannot change. Detachment fosters a sense of inner peace, making it easier to navigate life's uncertainties. Daily engagement with nature can also enhance resilience. Observing the natural world reminds you of the cycles of growth, decay, and renewal, offering a model for accepting life's changes. Marcus Aurelius reflected on nature often, writing, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." This connection to the broader rhythms of existence fosters a sense of harmony, reducing the intensity of emotional reactions. Silence and solitude are additional practices that support emotional resilience. Taking time each day for quiet reflection allows you to process your thoughts and emotions without external distractions. Seneca valued solitude, saying, "It is in times of security that the spirit should be preparing itself for difficult times." Silence creates a space for inner strength to develop, ensuring that you remain steady in the face of challenges. Acts of service further strengthen resilience. Helping others shifts your focus outward, reducing the self-centered perspective that often fuels anger. Marcus Aurelius believed in the interconnectedness of all people, writing, "What injures the hive injures the bee." By contributing to the well-being of others, you cultivate a sense of purpose and perspective that diminishes anger's hold. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges, but about learning to thrive within them. Each daily practice, reflection, gratitude, voluntary discomfort, mindful breathing, and more, builds your capacity to face adversity with equanimity. By integrating these rituals into your life, you create a foundation of emotional strength that transforms anger into clarity and frustration into growth. These practices are not quick fixes, but enduring tools, offering peace and balance in the ever-changing landscape of life. Resilience is built through deliberate practice, shaping the mind to remain steady and calm. As daily rituals like reflection and gratitude deepen emotional strength, one tool stands out for its ability to uncover and address the hidden layers of anger: journaling. Putting thoughts to paper creates a dialogue with yourself, a safe space where raw emotions can be dissected, understood, and transformed. The Stoics knew that clarity emerges from reflection, and journaling offers the perfect medium to explore your anger's roots and redirect its energy toward growth. Journaling allows you to slow down and face your emotions head-on. When anger strikes, it often moves too quickly for rational thought, leaving only a trail of frustration or regret. Writing disrupts this cycle. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is a timeless example of how journaling fosters self-awareness. By recording his thoughts, he confronted his flaws, examined his judgments, and guided himself back to reason. Journaling gives you the chance to pause, acknowledge the anger, and ask yourself critical questions about its source. Anger thrives in the absence of clarity. It exaggerates, distorts, and narrows focus, making the situation feel overwhelming. Journaling restores perspective by helping you organize chaotic thoughts. Start by describing the event that triggered your anger. Be honest and detailed, capturing the emotions, the words exchanged, and your initial reactions. This process brings structure to your feelings, preventing them from spiraling into confusion or resentment. Marcus Aurelius often used journaling to remind himself of what truly mattered, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This act of writing redirects energy from reaction to reflection. As you document your anger, focus on identifying its triggers. Anger rarely appears without a cause, even if that cause seems trivial on the surface. Epictetus emphasized that external events do not provoke anger. It is your interpretation of them that does. Journaling helps you uncover these interpretations, revealing patterns in your thinking that fuel emotional outbursts. You might notice that certain words, actions, or environments consistently stir frustration. Recognizing these triggers gives you the power to address them before they escalate. Beyond identifying triggers, journaling allows you to challenge the beliefs underlying your anger. Seneca encouraged questioning the assumptions that give anger its strength, saying, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Write down the thoughts driving your anger, such as, "They disrespected me," or "This isn't fair," and examine whether they are rooted in truth or perception. Often, journaling reveals that the intensity of your anger stems more from personal expectations than from the situation itself. Journaling also invites you to reframe the situation. When you describe the event and your emotions, look for alternative perspectives. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to view events through the lens of nature, seeing them as part of life's flow rather than personal affronts. Writing about how the situation could be interpreted differently, perhaps as a misunderstanding or an opportunity for patience, shifts your focus from blame to understanding. This reframing reduces anger's intensity and opens the door to compassion. Gratitude is another powerful element to incorporate into your journaling practice. Anger often fixates on what is wrong, ignoring what is right. After exploring the trigger and reframing the event, list things you are grateful for in the situation or in your life. Gratitude softens anger's edges, helping you move beyond the immediate frustration. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Writing about gratitude rewires your mind to seek positivity even in challenging moments. Use journaling to explore solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Anger often arises when you feel powerless, but writing can help you regain a sense of agency. Reflect on what steps you can take to address the situation constructively. This might involve setting boundaries, communicating your feelings, or letting go of control over what cannot be changed. By focusing on actionable steps, journaling transforms anger from a destructive force into a catalyst for growth. Journaling also serves as a record of your progress. By revisiting past entries, you can see how your responses to anger have evolved over time. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his previous thoughts to gauge whether he was living in alignment with his principles. Reviewing your journal allows you to celebrate growth, learn from setbacks, and reinforce the habits that lead to emotional resilience. Writing about your interactions with others helps build empathy. When anger is directed at someone else, it can be easy to view them as the villain in the story. Journaling encourages you to consider their perspective, their motives, and their struggles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. By exploring the other person's viewpoint in your journal, you reduce anger's grip and foster understanding. Journaling is also a space to confront deeper emotional patterns. Anger often masks underlying feelings such as fear, sadness, or insecurity. Writing allows you to dig beneath the surface, uncovering the true emotions driving your reactions. This process not only diffuses anger, but also helps you address the root causes of your emotional turbulence, leading to greater self-awareness and healing. Incorporating Stoic maxims into your journaling can provide guidance and inspiration. Reflect on quotes from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus that resonate with your situation, and explore how their wisdom applies to your experience. These reflections anchor your journaling practice in Stoic principles, reinforcing the values of patience, humility, and acceptance. Consistency is key to reaping the benefits of journaling. Make it a daily habit, whether in the morning, evening, or during moments of heightened emotion. Regular practice trains your mind to approach anger with curiosity and calmness rather than impulsivity. Seneca said, "Every night we must ask ourselves, what infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired?" Journaling becomes not just an exercise but a way of life, fostering ongoing growth and resilience. Through the Stoic practice of journaling, anger transforms from an uncontrollable force into a source of insight and strength. Writing creates a space for reflection, helping you understand your triggers, challenge your assumptions, and reframe your perspective. As you uncover the layers of your emotions and align your actions with your principles, you build a foundation of clarity and peace. Journaling is not simply a tool for self-expression. It is a pathway to mastery over anger and a deeper connection with your true self. Journaling reveals the intricate layers of anger, offering clarity and self-awareness. As you peel back the emotions and patterns that fuel frustration, a new question emerges. Where can you find inspiration to practice calm and release anger in your daily life? The answer is as ancient as it is profound: nature. The Stoics often turned to nature as a living example of harmony, resilience, and acceptance. Observing its rhythms, cycles, and quiet strength provides invaluable guidance for mastering emotional balance. Nature, unhurried and unyielding, shows how to let go of what cannot be controlled and embrace the flow of life. When you observe nature, you are reminded that everything operates in cycles. Anger thrives on the illusion of permanence, but nature teaches that nothing lasts forever. The rising and setting of the sun, the ebb and flow of tides, and the changing seasons all reflect the transient nature of existence. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the natural order of things, writing, "Observe always that everything is the result of change, and get used to thinking that there is nothing nature loves so well as to change existing forms." By internalizing this truth, you can release the grip of anger, knowing that even the most intense emotions will pass. Nature demonstrates resilience through its adaptability. Trees bend in the wind without breaking, rivers carve paths through stone, and plants grow even in the harshest conditions. This adaptability reflects the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within your control. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Observing nature's quiet strength inspires you to respond to challenges with flexibility rather than resistance, letting go of anger that stems from futile struggles against life's flow. The simplicity of nature is another powerful teacher. Anger often arises from complications, overthinking, unmet expectations, or clinging to unnecessary desires. Nature, in its essence, is free from these burdens. A tree does not resent the storm that shakes its branches. it simply endures. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By emulating nature's simplicity, you can strip away the layers of frustration and focus on what truly matters, fostering inner peace. Spending time in nature allows you to reconnect with the present moment. Anger often pulls you into the past or future, replaying offenses or worrying about outcomes. Nature, in its quiet presence, anchors you in the here and now. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, or the steady flow of a stream offers a gentle reminder to pause and breathe. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Nature becomes a physical reflection of this inner retreat, guiding you back to calmness. Nature also embodies impermanence, reminding you to let go of attachment. Flowers bloom and wither, rivers rise and recede, and the earth continues its eternal cycles. These processes are not mourned, but accepted as part of the natural order. Anger often stems from resisting change or clinging to how things should be. By observing nature's acceptance of impermanence, you learn to embrace life's uncertainties and release the frustration that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. The interconnectedness of nature offers another profound lesson. Every part of the natural world is interdependent, from the smallest insect to the tallest tree. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this unity, writing, "We are all working together to one end, some with knowledge and design, and others without knowing what they do." Understanding this interconnectedness helps dissolve anger toward others, fostering empathy and reminding you that conflicts are often the result of misunderstandings rather than malice. Nature's patience is another source of inspiration. A seed does not rush to become a tree. It grows steadily, step by step. This patience reflects the Stoic value of endurance. Seneca observed, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Patience, like gratitude, requires a steady acceptance of the present moment. Anger, which often demands immediate resolution or retribution, loses its urgency when you adopt nature's measured pace. Observing the cycles of growth and decay in nature teaches you to embrace renewal. Anger can feel consuming, as though it will linger forever, but nature shows that every ending is also a beginning. Forests regrow after fires, and rivers find new paths after floods. Epictetus taught, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." By seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, you can transform anger into resilience and creativity. The vastness of nature offers perspective. Standing beneath a starry sky or gazing at a mountain range reminds you of your place in the grand scheme of things. What feels overwhelming in the moment becomes small when viewed against the backdrop of eternity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look at the stars, and let that remind you of the structure of the universe." This sense of perspective helps you detach from petty grievances, replacing anger with awe and humility. Nature also reflects the balance between action and stillness. Rivers flow with purpose, yet they are not hurried. Clouds drift, yet they remain steady in their course. This balance mirrors the Stoic approach to life, engaging with the world while maintaining inner tranquility. Anger often disrupts this balance, pushing you toward impulsive action or paralyzing frustration. Observing nature helps you recalibrate, finding harmony between effort and acceptance. Engaging directly with nature enhances these lessons. Walking in a forest, tending a garden, or simply sitting by a body of water provides a physical connection to its teachings. Marcus Aurelius often sought solitude in nature to reflect and recharge. He understood that the natural world offers a sanctuary for the mind, a place to process emotions and regain clarity. By immersing yourself in nature, you create space to release anger and embrace serenity. Nature's rhythms also encourage mindfulness. The steady flow of a river or the rustle of wind through leaves draws your attention to the present, quieting the mind's chatter. Epictetus advised, "Make it your habit not to be distracted by the multitude of things." Mindfulness cultivated through nature allows you to observe anger without being consumed by it, creating room for understanding and resolution. Ultimately, nature teaches acceptance. It does not fight against its circumstances, but adapts, grows, and continues. This acceptance is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." By aligning yourself with nature's example, you let go of the resistance that fuels anger and find peace in life's unfolding. Through its calm and flow, nature offers a profound guide for letting go of anger. It teaches resilience, patience, and acceptance, showing that every challenge is part of a greater harmony. By observing and engaging with the natural world, you can cultivate a mindset of tranquility and strength, transforming anger into a deeper connection with yourself and the universe around you. Nature's wisdom encourages patience, adaptability, and acceptance, guiding you toward releasing anger and finding peace. But even within nature's tranquility, there are moments when emotions surge unexpectedly, demanding immediate action to regain control. Here lies the power of Stoic breathing techniques, a practice that bridges the external calm of the natural world with the inner calm you seek to cultivate. Breathing, often taken for granted, becomes a profound tool when approached with mindfulness and purpose. Through it, you can anchor yourself in moments of emotional turbulence, reclaiming clarity and composure when anger threatens to take over. Stoic breathing begins with awareness. Many people breathe shallowly, unaware of how their breath mirrors their mental state. When anger arises, breathing often becomes rapid and uneven, fueling the physiological responses of stress and heightening emotional intensity. Controlled breathing interrupts this cycle. Marcus Aurelius reflected on the importance of grounding the mind and body, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By focusing on your breath, you gain a foothold in the present, creating a space where anger can dissipate. The simplest practice is intentional deep breathing, a technique that slows your heart rate and soothes the nervous system. Inhale slowly through your nose, allowing your abdomen to expand, then exhale gently through your mouth. This deliberate rhythm communicates safety to your brain, counteracting the fight-or-flight response triggered by anger. Epictetus taught, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig." Just as growth takes time, calming anger requires a patient, steady approach, beginning with the breath. Stoic breathing also emphasizes focus. By concentrating solely on the sensation of air entering and leaving your body, you free your mind from the thoughts that fuel anger. This single-pointed focus is a form of mindfulness, drawing your attention away from the external trigger and back to yourself. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to remain present, writing, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Breathing helps you cleanse your mind of reactive thoughts, replacing them with stillness. In moments of anger, the breath serves as a guide, leading you out of emotional chaos. A useful technique is to count your breaths, extending the exhale longer than the inhale. For example, inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 2, and exhale for a count of 6. This extended exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation. Seneca observed that delay is a powerful antidote to anger, writing, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Breathing with intention creates this delay, preventing impulsive reactions. Another practice is the box breathing method. often used by Stoics and modern practitioners alike. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and hold the exhale for another 4 counts. This structured pattern stabilizes both body and mind, providing a sense of control even in challenging situations. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Through controlled breathing, what initially feels overwhelming becomes an opportunity for self-mastery. Stoic breathing also involves visualization. As you breathe deeply, picture the anger leaving your body with each exhale. Visualize calmness flowing in with each inhale, filling you with strength and clarity. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of directing your thoughts intentionally. Epictetus emphasized the importance of mental discipline, saying, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." By pairing breathing with visualization, you transform the act into a powerful tool for emotional regulation. Breathing can also be synchronized with reflection, drawing on Stoic teachings to guide your response. As you breathe, repeat a calming phrase or mantra, such as, "This too shall pass," or "I control my reaction, not the event." Marcus Aurelius often used affirmations to steady his mind, writing, "You always have the option of having no opinion." Linking your breath with these reminders grounds you in Stoic principles, reinforcing your ability to choose calmness over anger. Breathing techniques are not limited to moments of anger. Practicing them daily builds emotional resilience, making it easier to maintain composure in challenging situations. Begin your mornings with a few minutes of deep breathing to center yourself for the day ahead. Epictetus taught that preparation is key to navigating life's difficulties, saying, "We should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or is not in my control?" Breathing as a morning ritual aligns your mind and body, creating a foundation for mindful responses. Breathing also connects you to the rhythm of nature. The cyclical nature of inhale and exhale mirrors the ebb and flow of tides, the rise and fall of the sun, and the turning of the seasons. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on humanity's place within the natural order, writing, "Observe always that everything is the result of change." Aligning your breath with these natural rhythms fosters a sense of harmony, reducing the tension that anger creates. In social interactions, controlled breathing helps you maintain composure. When confronted with provocation, pausing to breathe before responding prevents escalation. Seneca advised responding to insults with calmness, noting, "It is often better not to see an insult than to avenge it." A measured breath gives you the time to assess whether a response is necessary, and if so, to deliver it with thoughtfulness rather than reactivity. Stoic breathing also cultivates gratitude. As you breathe, reflect on the gift of life that each breath represents. Epictetus reminded his students to value the present moment, saying, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude shifts your focus away from anger and toward appreciation, calming the mind and uplifting the spirit. Practicing breathing techniques during moments of calm reinforces their effectiveness in times of stress. Just as an athlete trains consistently to perform well under pressure, regular breathing practice prepares you to handle anger with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life. Treat each breath as an opportunity to cultivate presence and resilience, ensuring that you remain steady when challenges arise." Stoic breathing techniques are not merely exercises, but pathways to mastery over the self. They anchor you in the present, dissolve the intensity of anger, and create space for reason and reflection. Through the simple act of mindful breathing, you harness a profound tool for navigating life's storms with clarity and calmness. Each breath becomes a step toward emotional freedom, grounding you in the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Controlled breathing calms the storm within, anchoring you in moments of intense emotion. Yet, the ultimate goal is not just to regain balance when anger arises, but to fortify your mind so thoroughly that anger struggles to take root at all. Building an anger-proof mindset requires proactive effort, employing Stoic exercises to train your thoughts and reactions before challenges arise. Through consistent practice, you create emotional armor, ensuring that provocations, misunderstandings, and frustrations are met with equanimity rather than fury. The foundation of an anger-proof mindset is awareness. Anger often takes hold because emotions cloud judgment before you have time to assess the situation. Developing the habit of mindful observation allows you to catch anger in its earliest stages. Marcus Aurelius emphasized self-awareness, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The first step in building resilience is to train your mind to notice when irritation begins to stir, creating a pause before it escalates. Visualization is a powerful Stoic exercise for cultivating this mental fortitude. By mentally rehearsing challenging scenarios, you prepare yourself to respond calmly and thoughtfully. Epictetus advised his students to anticipate difficulties, saying, "When you are about to put your hand to some undertaking, remind yourself what kind of undertaking it is. For example, visualize someone criticizing you unfairly. Practice responding with patience and reason in your mind. This exercise trains your brain to approach real-life situations with the same calmness you cultivated during visualization." Voluntary discomfort is another cornerstone of an anger-proof mindset. Exposing yourself to controlled challenges strengthens your ability to endure discomfort without emotional reactivity. Seneca advocated for this practice, writing, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By stepping into discomfort willingly, you diminish its power over you. When faced with unexpected frustrations, your mind is already conditioned to remain steady. Reframing is an essential skill in diffusing anger before it takes hold. The way you interpret events shapes your emotional response. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Practice challenging your initial interpretations of situations. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of assuming malice, consider the possibility that they are rushing due to an emergency. This shift in perspective reduces the likelihood of anger, replacing it with understanding or neutrality. Gratitude also plays a critical role in building emotional resilience. When you focus on what is good and abundant in your life, anger over what is lacking or unfair loses its grip. Epictetus taught, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Start each day by listing things you are grateful for. This habit trains your mind to focus on positivity, making it less susceptible to the negativity that fuels anger. Another effective practice is setting clear intentions for how you wish to act. Begin each day with a commitment to embody patience, kindness, or humility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot distinguish between good and evil.'" Acknowledging potential challenges in advance helps you face them without surprise or resentment, maintaining your inner calm. Engaging in regular reflection strengthens your emotional defenses. At the end of each day, review your interactions and assess where you succeeded or faltered in maintaining your composure. Seneca often reflected on his actions, writing, "Every night we must ask ourselves, what infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired?" This practice allows you to identify triggers and refine your responses, ensuring continual improvement. Building an anger-proof mindset also involves understanding the impermanence of emotions. Anger feels overwhelming in the moment, but it is fleeting. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this truth, writing, "Observe always that everything is the result of change, and get used to thinking that there is nothing nature loves so well as to change existing forms. When anger begins to rise, remind yourself that it will pass, just as clouds drift away from the sky." This perspective helps you avoid reacting impulsively to temporary emotions. Anchoring yourself in the present moment further fortifies your defenses. Anger often arises when your mind drifts to the past or future, replaying offenses or anticipating conflicts. Practicing mindfulness keeps your focus on the here and now, where you can respond with clarity. Epictetus emphasized living in the present, saying, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By grounding yourself in the present, you reduce the mental chatter that fuels anger. Stoic detachment is another valuable tool for cultivating emotional resilience. Detachment does not mean apathy, but rather the ability to separate your sense of self from external events. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When faced with provocation, remind yourself that the situation does not define you. This mental distance creates space for reason and perspective, preventing anger from taking hold. Focusing on your role within the greater whole provides additional strength. Anger often stems from self-centered thinking, where your own needs or desires overshadow broader considerations. Marcus Aurelius reflected on the interconnectedness of all people, writing, "What injures the hive injures the bee." Viewing yourself as part of a larger community helps dissolve anger, replacing it with empathy and a sense of shared purpose. Developing a practice of kindness transforms how you respond to provocation. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Make it a habit to respond to irritations with acts of goodwill." This approach not only diffuses anger, but also strengthens your relationships and builds a more harmonious environment. Consistent practice of these exercises creates a mindset that is naturally resistant to anger. Visualization, reframing, gratitude, and detachment all work together to build emotional armor, allowing you to face life's challenges with grace. By adopting these Stoic principles, you create a foundation of resilience that keeps anger at bay and fosters a deeper sense of peace and clarity in every aspect of your life. Building an anger-proof mindset creates a solid foundation for navigating life's provocations with grace and resilience. However, even the most fortified mind requires an active shield to deflect the pressures and frustrations that threaten to breach it. Patience is that shield, a calm, deliberate force that neutralizes anger before it takes hold. Patience is not passive resignation, but an active discipline, cultivated through intentional practice. It gives you the strength to pause, reflect, and respond wisely, transforming potential conflict into an opportunity for growth. Patience begins with understanding its power. Anger often arises when there is a disconnect between your expectations and reality. Patience bridges this gap, allowing you to accept life's pace without resistance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight then it is swept by and another takes its place. This understanding reminds you that impatience does not hasten outcomes, it only disturbs your peace. Patience, on the other hand, enables you to flow with life rather than fight against it. Developing patience starts with practicing deliberate delay. Seneca advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. When provoked, take a moment to breathe deeply before responding. This pause interrupts the cycle of impulsive reaction, giving you time to assess the situation. During this pause, reflect on whether the anger serves any constructive purpose. Often, you will find that the need to react diminishes as clarity replaces emotion." Cultivating patience also involves setting realistic expectations. Much of impatience stems from expecting things to happen according to your timeline or preferences. Epictetus taught, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." Adjusting your expectations to align with reality reduces frustration and fosters acceptance. For instance, if waiting in a long line irritates you, remind yourself that the wait is not personal, it is simply part of life. Shifting your perspective turns irritation into an opportunity to practice patience. Engaging in small daily challenges builds your capacity for patience over time. Start by intentionally placing yourself in situations that require waiting, such as choosing the longest checkout line or allowing others to go ahead of you. These controlled exercises strengthen your ability to endure minor inconveniences without agitation. Marcus Aurelius encouraged embracing difficulty as a way to grow, writing, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Each challenge becomes a stepping stone toward greater patience. Another practice is reflecting on the impermanence of frustration. What feels unbearable in the moment often fades into insignificance with time. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You can endure anything your mind can make endurable by treating it as in your interest to do so." When impatience arises, remind yourself that the discomfort is temporary. This perspective helps you endure present difficulties with grace, knowing they will pass. Patience is also cultivated through mindful presence. Impatience often arises when your mind is pulled away from the present moment, dwelling on what should happen next or what has already occurred. Epictetus emphasized the importance of focusing on the now, saying, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Practice mindfulness by grounding yourself in your surroundings, noticing details such as sounds, textures, or sensations. This attention anchors you in the present, reducing the mental chatter that fuels impatience. Gratitude is another powerful tool for cultivating patience. When you focus on what you already have, rather than what you lack or wait for, impatience loses its grip. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Begin each day by expressing gratitude for simple things, such as a warm meal, a kind word, or a moment of rest. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, fostering patience in the face of delays or challenges. Patience also involves reframing your relationship with time. Instead of viewing time as an adversary to be conquered, see it as a companion that allows for growth and understanding. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "No man can lose either the past or the future, for how can one be deprived of what he does not possess?" Embrace the present as the only moment you truly have, and let go of the urgency that drives impatience. Practicing compassion enhances your ability to be patient with others. Often, impatience arises from a lack of understanding or empathy for someone else's struggles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever someone has done wrong by you, immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had in doing it. When dealing with others, remind yourself that they too face challenges and limitations. Compassion transforms frustration into understanding, creating space for patience to flourish. In moments of impatience, reflect on the greater purpose of enduring difficulties. Seneca advised, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Recognize that each test of patience is an opportunity to build resilience and character. Whether waiting for a result, managing a delay, or dealing with a difficult person, remind yourself that these moments are shaping your ability to remain calm and composed. Visualization is another effective practice for cultivating patience. Spend a few minutes each day picturing yourself navigating a challenging situation with calmness and grace. For example, visualize yourself responding kindly to someone who interrupts you or remaining composed during a delay. This mental rehearsal trains your brain to approach real-life challenges with the same patience you practiced in your visualization. Patience also requires letting go of the need for control. Impatience often stems from resisting situations that are beyond your influence. Epictetus taught, "Seek not for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will find serenity." Practice accepting circumstances as they are, focusing instead on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions. This shift in focus reduces frustration and fosters a sense of peace. Consistency is key to transforming patience into a habit. Like any skill, patience grows stronger with practice. Make it a daily effort to approach small irritations with calmness and understanding, building your capacity to handle larger challenges over time. Marcus Aurelius encouraged persistence, writing, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." Each act of patience strengthens your emotional foundation, making it harder for anger to take hold. Through deliberate practice, patience becomes a shield that deflects the pressures of life, transforming potential sources of anger into opportunities for growth. By embracing delay, adjusting expectations, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating gratitude, you create a mindset that remains steady in the face of adversity. Patience is not a passive act, but a powerful discipline, empowering you to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. As you continue to build this skill, you lay the groundwork for a life defined by calmness, clarity, and strength. Patience, when fully cultivated, acts as a powerful buffer against anger, allowing space for clarity and reason to emerge. Yet, frustration often lingers in the background, fueled by a deeper source, the need for control. The urge to dictate outcomes, manage other people's actions, or reshape circumstances to match your desires creates an inner tension that can erupt into anger when expectations are unmet. Mastering the art of releasing control, as the Stoics taught, liberates you from this emotional trap. By focusing on what is within your influence and surrendering the rest, you open the door to peace and freedom from frustration. Control is an illusion in many aspects of life. Epictetus emphasized this truth, teaching, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." This simple dichotomy of control forms the foundation of Stoic thought, helping you distinguish between what you can change and what you cannot. Frustration arises when you invest your energy in areas beyond your influence, whether it's the opinions of others, the outcomes of events, or the natural flow of life. Releasing control over these externals redirects your focus inward, where your true power lies, in your thoughts, actions, and choices. To practice the art of releasing control, start by observing your reactions to everyday frustrations. When you feel anger or impatience rising, pause and ask yourself, "Is this within my power to change?" This question, rooted in Epictetus's teachings, serves as a mental checkpoint. helping you redirect your energy toward constructive actions rather than fruitless resistance. For instance, if someone speaks rudely to you, you cannot control their words, but you can control how you respond, with dignity and calmness rather than anger. Letting go of control also requires adjusting your expectations. Unmet expectations are a common trigger for frustration, often because they are rooted in assumptions about how people or events should behave. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." This acceptance does not mean passivity, but rather aligning your expectations with reality. Instead of expecting perfect outcomes or flawless behavior, approach life with flexibility, recognizing that imperfections are a natural part of existence. Another powerful exercise is reframing your perspective on challenges. Seneca advised, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." When faced with a difficult situation, view it as an opportunity to practice virtue rather than as an obstacle to your peace. For example, a delayed flight becomes a chance to exercise patience, and a disagreement with a colleague becomes a moment to practice understanding. Shifting your focus from control to growth dissolves frustration and fosters resilience. Releasing control also involves embracing uncertainty. Many frustrations stem from the fear of the unknown or the desire to predict outcomes. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not be disturbed. All things have their proper time, and you will come to learn what the world is like through experience." Trusting the process of life reduces the anxiety and frustration that arise from trying to force clarity where none exists. Accepting uncertainty as a natural part of life allows you to move forward with calmness and confidence. Practicing gratitude is another key to releasing control. Frustration often arises from focusing on what is lacking or what has gone wrong. Gratitude shifts your attention to what is already present and good. Epictetus taught, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Reflect daily on the blessings in your life, no matter how small. This practice grounds you in the present and reduces the need to control future outcomes. Visualization is a useful tool for internalizing the Stoic dichotomy of control. Spend time mentally rehearsing scenarios where you might feel the urge to control what is beyond your reach. Picture yourself recognizing the limits of your influence and responding with calm acceptance. For instance, if a meeting does not go as planned, visualize yourself focusing on the effort you put in rather than fixating on the result. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to approach real-life situations with the same clarity and composure. Another practice is observing nature as a guide. The natural world operates without resistance or control, adapting to changes with grace. Rivers flow around obstacles, seasons shift without force, and plants grow toward the light regardless of their surroundings. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on nature's wisdom, writing, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." Aligning your mindset with nature's flow teaches you to accept what you cannot change while remaining purposeful in your actions. Forgiveness is also integral to releasing control. Holding on to anger or resentment often stems from the desire to rewrite the past or control another person's behavior. Forgiveness frees you from this burden, allowing you to let go of the emotional weight that frustration brings. Seneca observed, "A great man is hard on himself, a small man is hard on others." By forgiving others and yourself, you release the illusion of control over past events, finding peace in the present. Releasing control does not mean abandoning responsibility. The Stoics emphasized taking deliberate action within the sphere of your influence. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You must take responsibility for your actions, but do not let the outcomes disturb you. Focus on doing your best in every situation, knowing that your effort is where your power lies. This approach allows you to act with integrity and purpose, free from the frustration of chasing outcomes you cannot dictate. Consistent reflection strengthens your ability to release control. At the end of each day, review moments where you felt frustration or anger. Ask yourself whether those feelings stemmed from trying to control something beyond your influence. This practice, inspired by Marcus Aurelius's meditations, helps you identify patterns and refine your approach to future challenges. Over time, you will find it easier to distinguish between what deserves your energy and what does not. Releasing control is not about giving up, but about redirecting your focus to what truly matters. By letting go of the need to dictate every outcome, you create space for peace, growth, and clarity. The Stoic dichotomy of control is a liberating philosophy, guiding you to invest your energy wisely and accept life's flow with grace. As you practice these principles, frustration diminishes, replaced by a deeper sense of harmony with yourself and the world around you. Anger can feel like a storm that disrupts your inner calm, but as we've explored, Stoicism offers the tools to transform that storm into tranquility. From mastering patience to releasing control, from finding gratitude in the midst of frustration to embracing the natural flow of life, these principles empower you to turn anger into a source of strength and wisdom. Each practice is a step toward emotional freedom, where calm becomes your default state and joy emerges from within. Stoicism doesn't promise a life free from challenges, but it teaches you how to navigate them with grace, turning every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Whether it's pausing to breathe, reframing your perspective, or anchoring yourself in gratitude, these practices help you align with what truly matters. They remind you that happiness is not found in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering your mind and actions. Now, it's your turn to take action. What part of Stoicism resonates with you the most? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you're applying these lessons to your life. If this journey has inspired you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more wisdom and tools for a calmer, happier life. Let's keep growing together.